Morning, everybody. Morning, morning. Share it up. Share it up. Share up the live.
The stories from the Radio Jamaica News Center. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has likened food security to national security amid geopolitical tensions, rising energy costs, and unpredictable commodity prices. Dr. Holness says it is more important than ever for Jamaicans to be able to feed themselves as global supply chains face increasing pressure and climate change threatens traditional productive systems.
How long we been telling you, man?
He adds that his administration will be investing in the agriculture sector to improve food security.
Ensure that our people have access to affordable, nutritious food even in times of crisis. It reduces our dependence on imports, shields us from external shocks, and creates the conditions for real independence, economic and social. In a world marked by geopolitical tensions, rising energy costs, and unpredictable commodity markets, food security is now a matter of national security.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He was speaking yesterday at the commissioning of the Parnassus irrigation system and the launch of the Parnassus Agro Park in Clarendon. Former JAS
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. The ungodly are not so. They are like a chaff which the wind driveth away. Yeah, man. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Welcome to Colin Shakafi and Bella TikTok. I'm a TikTok peeps. This, I think, is the last time we're going to be going live on this TikTok page because we have a new TikTok page, simply Shaka Fame. SHACKA space FAME. Please follow me over that page because we're going to be closing down this page. And that's why we're going live on it this morning so that we can close it down. So, yeah. Check it out. Check it out.
That with all of these things that are heaping up on the Prime Minister and his administration, he must be feeling a little bit he must be feeling the weight of the Jamaican people. And I think the Prime Minister, we have about 6 months left into the term. I think the Prime Minister should just call the election, just go to the poll, call the election and allow the Jamaican people to make a decision one way or the other. If they decide that listen, they want to continue with him, then certainly a lot of that burden would have lifted. Or the people decide whether they want to go into another direction, because certainly the country right now, as I see it, we're at a crossroad, and I believe that the only thing to really settle this down is to ask the people to make a decision one way or the other.
Ann Porter-Jones, and these are the stories from the Radio Jamaica News Center. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has likened food security to national security amid geopolitical tensions, rising energy costs, and unpredictable commodity prices. Dr. Holness says it is more important than ever for Jamaicans to be able to feed themselves as global supply chains face increasing pressure and climate change threatens traditional productive systems. He adds that his administration will be investing in the agriculture sector to improve food security.
Ensure that our people have access to affordable, nutritious food even in times of crisis. It reduces our dependence on imports, shields us from external shocks, and creates the conditions for real independence, economic and social. In a world marked by geopolitical tensions, rising energy costs, and unpredictable commodity markets, food security is now a matter of national security.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He was speaking yesterday at the commissioning of the Parnassus irrigation system and the launch of the Parnassus Agro Park in Clarendon. Former JAS.
So, morning and welcome everybody. Welcome to Portland Spice TV, Jamaica's #1 talk show on a Saturday morning. Now, you hear how long we've been talking about food security and saying to people that food security is paramount. Now, the Prime Minister just realized that. I'm asking you to share this live here this morning. This program this morning is going to be very, very important. You see, this morning, we're going to have a big show. We have invited former FBI investigator Wilfred Rattigan. We have invited the man from Make We Talk TV, Jeffrey Tavares. We have invited from News Talk 93 FM, Conrad, the fireman O'Brien. And we have invited GLP communication specialist, Senator Marlon Morgan. Why have I invited so many people this morning? Nadine, Lloyd Pang, Tony, Celine, Miss Brown, Yvonne. Why have I invited so many people? Because we're coming up to a general election. And our sitting Prime Minister and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, is under some clouds, heavy cloud, under investigation for illicit enrichment. And the question we are asking this morning, should Prime Minister Andrew Holness be on the ballot going into the next election? And I didn't want to line up such a heavy show without somebody who I am sure will be saying that the Prime Minister deserves to be on the ballot. So those of you over TikTok, call the GLP, troll them, tell them to forward this morning because the Prime Minister is on trial. The Prime Minister will be scrutinized this morning. Also, the Integrity Commission will be scrutinized. And I'm asking those of you in the chat room to make it known to us, all who think that the Prime Minister should be on the ballot and all who think he should not be on the ballot. And if you can state a reason why you think he should be or should not be. That segment, we're going to start that segment at 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. I'm giving you time to share the link. Send it out to everybody. Portland Spice TV this morning. Still cannot believe in what Andrew Holness is saying because he's always talking the truth about what the people wants, but doing opposite thing. Andrew Holness is not a normal person. I saw in the town hall meeting with George Davis where we'll do President Fitzroy, where a question was asked to the General Secretary of the People's National Party why people should choose your leader. And the General Secretary says because he's the only one that is certified. That is a factual argument. Factual argument. And, you know, for some reason I can't find Dr. Chang's response to that. But like up this live, yeah. People on TikTok, and remember, my new TikTok page is Shaka Fame. SHACKAFAME. I don't think there is a law for those corruption. Oh, Johnny, that's a thought. There's a law. And that's why the Integrity Commission was put in place to root out those. And one of the things that the Prime Minister is trying to struck down in the court is the law of illicit enrichment. I'ma try struck out that. So, send on this to everybody. Because we need to talk right here so this morning. Right here so on Portland Spice TV. I have sent out the link to all my guests. I'm waiting on them. Tell them it's 9:20 that we're doing this morning. The Prime Minister comes front and center. And I would have loved if somebody would have called the Prime Minister and tell him to check out this live here this morning. Check it out because he's at the front of the class. What about the other 7 persons who are being investigated too? There, but Andreen Miller. That is a big question, Cynthia B. Statutory declaration can be certified. So he should not be on the ballot. Can't be certified. The MP should not be on the ballot. Any political leader whose statutory declaration can't be certified should be automatically disqualified from running for public office. Heavy argument. Heavy argument. Andrew leaves Jamaica in words. Does he leave my demand? J.A. indeed. A whole heap of things. Before we get there, I want to call out Darren Sammy this morning and the West Indies Cricket Board. Because they move Ravman Powell from the captain of the 2020 team with a win record of over 50%. A win record of over 50%. But you keep Shearwoop as the one-day captain and give him the 2020 with a win record of under 50%. Darren Sammy, West Indies Cricket Board. What kind of decision is that? One of these morning, we're going to take on that. We're going to take on that. We are going to take on the West Indies Cricket Board. Must take on the West Indies Cricket Board. I'm just doing some housekeeping here while we get ready. RJ, welcome, good morning. Be a Portland Spice ambassador. Share this link here to everybody. Because this morning we're discussing whether or not Prime Minister Andrew Holness should be on the ballot going into the next general election with his statutory declarations not certified for 3 years, going into 4 years. Should he or should he not? And we want to hear the reasons why you think he should not. And for those people who think that he should, we want to hear the reason why you think that he should be on the ballot. It is a serious Saturday morning, this is Saturday morning, yeah. Very, very serious. Somebody call Showerman. Because Showerman, and there's a lady who called me last Wednesday evening saying I should leave the Prime Minister alone. Maybe the Prime Minister should have leave me alone. Because if you are the Prime Minister for my country and your statutory filing not certified, what are the examples that you are setting for me? What is it that you're saying to me? Jeffrey, I send you the link.
Yeah, big boss.
I send you the link. You don't see it?
Yeah, man. So you're not sending Ratty or you not call Ratty?
I send it to Ratty as well.
All right. I think you may have to call him because he is.
Yeah. Well, I will
not.
I will call him if I have to call him.
So call him.
Check it for me and let me know if I need to call him or he's coming on. Just shout him.
Yeah, I was just with him a while ago.
And him say I should call him.
You should call him, yeah.
Not a problem. I will call Ratty then. You come on, Conrad come
all right,
on,
man,
Marlon Morgan will come on as well.
With all of us?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I could dig in behind.
Don't say it. Don't say a word. All right, Jeffrey. I see Jeffrey up. So let me just make a call to Marlon Morgan to ensure that he got the link because I sent him the link. So you make me just let me put up Jeffrey. Where did Jeffrey go? Jeffrey, come back. Where you go? Where did Jeffrey go? Jeffrey was just on. As I got to him disappear. Come back, Jeffrey. And we're waiting on Conrad. I will call Ratty. I don't have a problem calling Rattigan. Because as I say, my peeps, this morning, yeah, Jeffrey's back here. Jeffrey, morning. I'm not hearing you, Jeffrey. Unmute your mic. No, your mic is not mute. But I'm not hearing you. Hold on, let me see. No, I'm up. I'm not hearing you, Jeffrey.
Are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear.
All right.
Yeah, man. So, it is a serious morning this morning. Jeffrey Tavares from Make We Talk TV. We're waiting on Conrad O'Brien. We're waiting on Marlon Morgan. And seems like I'm going to have to call Wilfred Rattigan on the phone. Let me just make certain Marlon see this. Yeah, man. You see the link? It upon this. No, I not email me, send it to you by my WhatsApp it to you by upon this phone. Yeah. It upon this same WhatsApp. Yeah. So just email it to yourself if you need it. All right. All right. Anytime you're ready. All right. Cool. All right. So, Jeffrey, I just confirmed with Marlon that he has the link. And we're waiting on Conrad. Jeffrey Tavares, morning. Welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Hold on for me. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. And let me just call Ratty same time. Let me just call Rattigan same time. Hold on. Think him number upon this phone, yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Just getting everything together to make sure That's you calling me, Jeffrey.
Yeah, listen. Mute your mic.
Who that
Can
you
you hear
have,
me now?
who that you have there?
I'm calling you.
Huh?
I am the one who's calling you. Mute your mic for a minute.
Oh, you want to talk to me? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, that was Jeffrey. I'm going just make certain I get Ratty on the line same time. So once we start, we don't have no break. So we're getting everything together, my peeps. Share up the link in the meantime. Share up the link. This is going to be the biggest show. The biggest show. Share up the link to everybody. Let them know that this morning we're going to be discussing whether or not you think Prime Minister Andrew Holness should be on the ballot going into the next general election. Do you think the Prime Minister's statutory filing should exclude him from the ballot? We're just trying to get Ratty on the phone so we have everybody. We know Conrad going to join us in time. When Conrad join us. So, Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
Equitalk TV. We have been watching all of this playing out in the public sphere, and we're getting very close to a general election.
Mm-hmm.
What are your views, Jeffrey?
I'll tell you something, you know. The Jamaican people.
It look like we have Ratty. Hold on. Ratty? All right. Beautiful. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Welcome, Wilfred Rattigan, to join us here this morning too. And thank you for having me on your program. Sir.
Blessings.
What I'm saying is this: is that the Jamaican people should make a decision. If we should have somebody, and I know people are gonna come on and debunk me, but that's okay. If we should have somebody who his statutory declaration cannot be certified, leading a nation, or he's still on the ballot. You know, we should make that decision. And if there should be a petition going around to say, okay, he should not be, I think every single Jamaican should sign it.
But those are your thoughts.
This is my thoughts, yes.
Wilfred Rattigan, morning. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, for the last 3 years, his statutory filing has not been certified. He's under investigation for illicit enrichment. Do you think that he should be on the ballot in the next general election?
Personally, from an ethical standpoint, I don't think he should be, but that's left up to the people of Jamaica. But you know, I'm not surprised by the actions of this Prime Minister, because if you recall, Shaka, this man was supposed to sign off on the Nolan principles of good governance. And after he received the training, he asked for the training from the Integrity Commission.
Yes.
Received the training. Not just him, but his cabinet received it. And the opposition did receive it as well. To the best of my knowledge, all the opposition members who received that training signed off on it.
All the
Prime
MPs
Minister,
and the senators.
Yes. But for the government, on the government side, and I don't mean to be partisan, I just mean to be factual. On the government side, no one to date has signed the 7 principles of good governance, the Nolan principles, that they asked for the training and they received it. So if they didn't even sign that, I don't see how them going to do anything that's ethical. I mean, it's beyond my comprehension, because that was the first, that to me, that was the first sign that they mean the country of Jamaica no good as far as ethics and good governance and transparency are concerned. But again, my personal view is that he should just step aside for the good of the country. And then also, it's not only for the good of the country, Shaka, but think about it. When he meets up with his counterparts, what do you think them saying? Because they all know about this, Shaka. They all know about this.
Mm-hmm. So Explain something for me, Rattigan. Prime Minister, President, leader of the country. What does that mean for somebody to be leading a country? And I'm going to pose the same question to you, Jeffrey. Let Ratty go first.
Yeah, when you're leading the country, you are head cook and bottle washer. You are shepherd this country into what he has referred to as prosperity. You're responsible for everything that happens in the country. You cannot defer because remember now, you sit at the top of the heap, except for the Governor General and the King. But you sit at the top of the hill. You're responsible for everything that goes on in Jamaica. You're responsible for the Jamaican people. And this man is not a leader in Shaka, because I go back to the 2016 manifesto, which I put on my program today. I did it last week. In the manifesto, you know what? How we address the Jamaican people? He said, "Dear friends and colleagues." As a leader, that's not how we address the people. That's not how we address the people. That was a clear and convincing clue to me that this man has no idea what he's doing. And so when you lead, you're supposed to lead by example. And if you cannot open up your books and say, Jamaican people, and by extension the world, including the diaspora, I have nothing to hide. Here is my financial life. It's an open book. Integrity Commission, have at it, do whatever you want to do with it. When you cannot do that, Shaka, that is a resounding message to the people of Jamaica that you're not worthy of leading. Because if you cannot lead by example, then you should not be leading at all. That's simple.
So you are saying that being the Prime Minister, the President, or the leader of the country, in simple terms, you should be leading by example.
Yes. And also one more thing before my colleague Jeffrey Colin. Remember now, Shaka, it was in 2017 that the same Prime Minister shepherded the Integrity Commission Act, and brought that institution into existence in 2018. And if you look at all the speeches he's made every year for the December 9th, every year for the Anti-Corruption Day, and you see how he describes the Integrity Commission in glowing terms. And the 1 year he did not describe the Integrity Commission in glowing terms was this past December. And it was because it was this past December. Every December, go back and look and see how he described them. He described Mr. Panton, and described the rest of them, and described the organization, and say, outstanding, and they're doing good work and blah, blah, blah. Except when it came to him. When it came to him, and they started digging into that statutory declaration including the 20 bank books, that's when it stopped press them. So, I mean, this man here, as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't displayed the necessary and the requisite leadership skills to lead the country of Jamaica, and hence he should just step aside for the sake of the country and for the international perception of Jamaica.
All right,
he needs to step aside.
Let me go to Jeffrey. Jeffrey, just before, let me add Senator Morgan. Senator Marlon Morgan, good morning.
Morning, Colin.
Welcome to the show.
To your listeners and viewers, and I am absolutely delighted that unknown to me, though I have entered the studio, unknown to me, the voice I detected just now is that of one Wilfred Rattigan, whose foremost claim to fame is that he served as an investigator with the United States' Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Hold on, Wilfred.
Let me just make one quick correction of the senator. He said my claim to fame is being a retired FBI. No,
so that was my editorializing. My editorializing is my editorializing.
All right, Marlon, hold on. Let's go to.
So I can bring up this thing.
Let's go to Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
I lost my train of thought, to be honest.
Hold on. I'll repeat the question, Jeffrey. Conrad O'Brien is supposed to be joining us, and Ed Boy is supposed to be joining us as well. Jeffrey, the question was, what is the role of a prime minister or a president of a country? What are their roles and function? What they're supposed to be doing?
The prime minister is supposed to be leading the nation. The prime minister should not have anything behind his name in the sense of the Integrity Commission can't verify his statutory declaration. And when you have a prime minister comparing the Jamaican people as dogs running behind a car, it begs to ask the question if the prime minister really think about the Jamaican people or think about himself. And you can't have a prime minister describing us as dogs and expect us to go out there and vote for him.
No, but let's not go there yet, Jeffrey. I want to hear what are your views on the roles and functions of a prime minister. What is it that a prime minister is supposed to be doing?
Well, the prime minister should be leading the nation in the sense of representing the nation well. Make sure that the people, when you promise the people things, it is being delivered. Make sure that the ins and outs of Parliament is the integrity of the ins and outs of Parliament is good. Make sure that whatever functions you have on, in the sense of maybe healthcare, education, and so forth, you as a prime minister must make sure that those things are delivered to the people, and the people have education, health. All those things are intact. All those things are done properly for the people. Make sure the people have a proper security system that they can sleep with the windows and door open, as what you promise us.
All right, so I'm going to go down the line as you join. So Marlon, you there?
Ever ready, always there, my
All
brother.
right, so yeah, man, give back your picture. So the question I'd asked before you came on was, what are really the roles and functions of a prime minister or a president leading a country?
Excellent question. Jamaica is a democratic society, and at all times you will have divergent views as to how a person holding office is performing. I caught the back end of who I believe was Wilfred Radican earlier.
Yeah, man, it's Ratican is on. Wilfred Ratican is on.
Very well, all right?
He's on the line. He's on the phone.
And so he made his own case based on how he perceives Enterprise Jamaica at present. In terms of the role, as you'll appreciate, Colin, gentlemen all, the Prime Minister is primus inter pares.
I like that term.
Equals. The Prime Minister is someone in whom considerable responsibility has been entrusted, and is the person who has superintendence, as it were, from a political perspective, from an executive standpoint over the affairs of the country. So you're thinking of the safety and security of the citizens,
yes,
education, healthcare, infrastructure, you name it. So the role of the Prime Minister in Jamaican society, as is the case in many democracies around the world, is to essentially provide strong leadership, to send signals to the country in terms of stewardship of our nation's resources, and to positively impact the lives of people. I trust I'll be afforded an opportunity as we go on throughout the course of this morning to unpack aspects of those in relation to the degrees to which and the ways in which I am positing and submitting this morning that Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness has been positively impacting the lives of the Jamaican people. And we're not unmindful of criticisms. We're not unmindful of divergent views. And I trust as well that as we go on this morning, an opportunity will be afforded for those keenly contested views to be deliberated and ventilated.
All right, so before I go to the next person, let me just put some ground rules here. I will not be giving anybody more than 90 seconds to answer any questions. Because if we allow the questions to be answered on ending, then we're not going to be able to finish this morning. So 90 seconds for any questions. Ed Boy, you heard the question. What are your views on the rules and functions of a prime minister?
Well, I mean, the roles and good morning to you and your panelists. The roles and functions of the Prime Minister is quite simple. One, he chairs he has responsibility to chair the cabinet in our Jamaican experience. He also has the role and function of ensuring that the ministers that he appoints are in fact functioning. The other role and function of the Prime Minister would include that he has the responsibility in our legislative setup to call an election. Yes, and he also has the role and responsibility of firing firing cabinet ministers. Also, the Prime Minister has a duty as a Prime Minister to ensure that the team that he leads is that they are functioning, that they are above board in terms of transparency, accountability, responsibility, and the same is equally for him.
Obi?
All right. Thanks a lot for inviting me and Colin, and to the panelists. I want to greet them well. I want to greet your listeners and indeed your viewers at home here in Jamaica and across the diaspora well. It's a very interesting subject, Colin, that you're raising this morning. But before I get in, I want to just quickly say something, because, you know, sometimes when we're on program like these, we use language or use words as if we hear or the only people that we're talking to, that we would understand what we're saying. But because as a broadcaster, and I understand what an audience means, I say something. Marlon used the word, a word, and it simply means first among equal. All right? First among equal. Paris inter pares, or whatever the pronunciation is. So it's really meaning first among equal. That means the Prime Minister basically is at the top of the podium and should set the example for the rest of the country to follow. That said, the role of a Prime Minister. First of all, I would say the role of a Prime Minister is to ensure that you have good governance within a country, so that the people at the end of the day would be better off. So your education system, you want that to improve. Your housing stock, you want that to be improved. Your health sector, you want that to be improved. Your basic standard of living for your people, you want that to be improved. A Prime Minister should be ensuring that all of that be improved. You also...
Obi, thank you very much, because as I said, I'm not going to give more than 90 seconds to answer any questions.
No, but I wasn't answering a question. I've given an open remarks, and the person before me got much more time, so I think you just need to be fair to him. Let me finish, and then you can use your 90-second rubric to guide the program going forward.
Right,
so please.
All right, I'll let you finish.
Yes. Yeah, Colin, you know what, go. So therefore, those things said, in addition to that, the Prime Minister also have a role, a great duty to increase the pie. That is to grow the economy, so therefore you can move more people or move people out of poverty. And I know that we'll get some time to drill down on that, because personally I find the Prime Minister very, very wanting on all of those rubrics that I outlined just now.
Thank you very much. Listeners and viewers, once again, welcome to Portland Spice TV. Please like and share and subscribe. This program, everybody need to see it. So I said to the over 600 people right now online, going close to 700. Send it out to everybody, because you need to hear. The main question this morning, and I'm going to go around the table once with this question, just for a quick answer. Do you think the Prime Minister should be on the ballot in the next election? Jeffrey?
My take on that is no.
Marlon?
My take on that is absolutely in the affirmative. The Prime Minister is to be on the ballot. He has distinguished himself as the leader of Jamaica over the past 9 years.
Wilfred Rattigan.
The Prime Minister has distinguished himself as someone who should not be on the ballot, should not represent the Jamaican people.
Ed boy.
No, absolutely not. And I'll tell you why quickly.
No, don't tell me why. Because we're coming back with that question.
Of
Obi.
course.
Absolutely not. I will say this with aplomb that there are sufficient reasons, and we will be able to articulate them, a litany of them, why Andrew Michael Rodham Brogard Holness, the most honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, should not be on the ballot going into the next general election.
Jeffrey Tavares, 90 seconds. Why the Prime Minister should not be on the ballot?
I don't believe Prime Minister Holness has really lived up to his promises to the Jamaican people. He spoke about his 100 days in office. He spoke about term limits that has not been implemented. He spoke about, make sure that the Jamaican people have a better way of living, in the sense of live with the windows and doors open. That has not happened. Yet they're saying crime is down. We don't see where crime is down. I don't believe the crime statistics that is happening from the JCF. I don't believe that. Some people may. The teachers are leaving our education institution, left, right, and center. So are nurses. I don't believe the Prime Minister should be on the ballot, because based on he presided over a health sector. He gave Christopher Tufton the Minister of Health, and when it comes on to the health sector, Colin Hospital is still, to me, is cost overrun. They show something a couple of days ago with my good friend from Montego Bay, the mayor, who is saying that, oh, the hospital is up and going to open soon, and they open this administration wing of the hospital. That's damn nonsense. And I can go on and on and on. I do not believe this Prime Minister should be on the ballot. I don't believe he should.
All right, Jeffrey, thank you very much. What I'll say to you, Jeffrey, is that you have pointed out a number of things that has not been done, but none of that has ever stopped any Prime Minister or any MP from being on a ballot. Yes, there have been failures, but Prime Ministers and leaders have failed over the years and still be on the ballot. Marlon Morgan, you said that the Prime Minister deserves to be on the ballot. 90 seconds, why?
No. In political discourse, we're entitled to our own opinions. We're not, however, entitled to our own facts. As far as I'm concerned, and this is a bit of opinion, Jamaica's economy is in a much better place relative to where the Prime Minister and the administration he leads inherited it. Now, if you look at the empiricals now, in terms of absolute facts, the indicators in terms of unemployment, inflation that remains modest, 8 consecutive years of no new taxes, 10 consecutive budgets of no net new taxes. All of these things are facts and are empiricals. Jamaica, over many years, have had certain deficits in our society, because you do not have a situation where a government, the PNP that is, was in power for 18 and a half years and performed so abysmally, certainly in my view and in the view of many Jamaicans, in relation to the stewardship of the then PJ Patterson and Omar Davies, the administration of which Omar Davies in particular was a part. So just to be very clear, economic stability has been one of the mantra of this government in terms of ensuring that our macroeconomic fundamentals in the country are appropriately aligned and are well attended to, because we know that having people in jobs is critical to how they fare in relation to their own pockets and their own well-being at the level of their household. Separate and apart from that, one of the key points to understand this morning, gentlemen, is that the key issues confronting Jamaican society are being attended to. In terms of infrastructure, you have several roadwork initiatives, and the flagship roadwork initiative is Spark. Agriculture, irrigation,
thank you.
Is coming on
that's
stream.
48. That's 1 minute and 50 seconds.
And I'll just mention quickly crime management. 36%.
We'll come back to you. However, though,
sure,
Marlon,
because I'm respecting the 90-second rule.
Yeah, man. And I gave you way over 90 seconds. I gave you 1 minute and 50 seconds. However, you spoke about economic stability. The economy is not stable. Jamaica is presently in a recession, and we're looking at minimal growth going forward. Wilfred Rattigan.
Yes, sir. Listen, yes. You have a right to your opinion, you don't have a right to the facts. And certainly you don't have a right to misstate facts. When people tell you about unemployment and try to make a comparison, let it be known that even Statin came out and said that they have a new methodology that they started in December of January 2024. And therefore you cannot compare anything that's going on now to what took place before. And we can expound on that later on. The macroeconomic fundamentals, people tell you that, but here's what you need to ask people. Ask them one simple question. Is your life better now than it was 9 years ago? Have you moved from the poor class to the middle class as promised? Are you experiencing prosperity versus poverty? And when people tell you that, well, you know, the PNP had it 18 years ago, my response to them is that, look, that argument is of no moment because the electors, they rejected the PNP in 2016 and they rejected the PNP in 2020 based on the fact that the JP government says we can fix this problem. It has been made a problem and we're going to take care of it. So it starts from 2016, not going back 18 years. Now, regarding why I think the Prime Minister should be, 3 quick things. The Prime Minister must be above and beyond reproach. Must be seen where there is no appearance of impropriety. When you don't sign the Nolan principles of government after you brought the Integrity Commission into being, and when you have Westcon investigation, the statutory declaration investigation, and the Wycliffe Close investigation, there is an appearance of impropriety. You cannot have a leader.
Thank you, Ratty. We'll come back with you. You can finish up on the next round. Ed Boy, why shouldn't the Prime Minister be on the ballot?
I mean, it is simple, and I'll tell you why. You have never had an agency of government being set up by government, being brought to the court by government. Let me make the point to say that what the Prime Minister's attempt to have illicit enrichment being struck out from the roles and functions or from the Integrity Commission being able to do so, it is absolutely wrong. We have never seen government suing government. Now, the other point
and a point of order that is incorrect.
Hold on, Marlon.
No. This is not the parliament, Marlon.
Go ahead, Ed Boy.
The truth be told, what has happened with that illicit enrichment case is the Prime Minister played a chess game because all the other 7 persons who are being accused of it, the Integrity Commission cannot publish anything on those 7 persons until the Prime Minister's matter in court is resolved. So how could you have somebody on the ballot that the Integrity Commission for over 3 years cannot verify his statutory declarations? And also, as a banker, how could you have somebody who is setting up offshore entities to as his lawyer said, to avoid paying taxes? That is where I end it, brother.
Thank you very much. Listeners and viewers, once again, welcome to Portland Spice TV. Welcome to Colin Shakafi and Bella TikTok. We are live this morning. We have a panel of Jeffrey Tavares from Make We Talk TV. We have a Senator and Senior Communication Specialist of the Jamaica Labour Party, Senator Marlon Morgan from Straight Up 93 FM, Conrad O'Brien. We have Ed Boy as a political analyst, and we have Wilfred Rattigan. We're asking the question, should Prime Minister Andrew Holness be on the ballot going into the next general election? Why are the reasons that we are asking these questions? There's a law in Jamaica that all
Remember, Colin, I haven't weighed in on that yet. You know? I don't get
Yes, sorry, I don't come to you yet. We have a law in Jamaica, and I totally forget your OB, I will admit, but I'm coming to you right after this. There's a law in Jamaica that all parliamentarians are to file their statutory filing with the Integrity Commission. Upon filing of this, the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition, after being certified, a summary must be made public. And therefore, for the last 3 years, a summary of our Prime Minister's statutory filing has not been made public. Conrad O'Brien, why shouldn't Prime Minister Andrew Holness be on the ballot going into the next general election? And let me start the clock before you start, Obi, because I want to be fair this morning, giving everybody the same time. Obi, 90 seconds, go.
All right, good. Colin, indeed, I like to communicate so my people can understand. It is a simple thing. The Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, have basically disqualified himself from being on the ballot of the next election simply because he has been unable to get his filing certified for not 1 year, not 2 years, 3 years, and going 4. Those are things that we saw that afford people to sever themselves from their jobs. We saw recently where the head of the office that deal with birth certificates there, he had to sever his ties from that office because of what he come up on with the Integrity Commission. In any proper democracy, the Prime Minister would no longer sit in office now, let alone offering himself as Prime Minister once again. And we must take these things seriously into consideration. We must use ourselves as a template. What would you be the ask if you were applying to be a member of one of the party to be on the ticket and you're under that cloud? Could you pass even the selection process to become a candidate?
Thank you, Obi.
Those are the questions that are in front of us.
You're talking about the RGD.
The RGD,
I'm going to jump and come back straight to you. You have heard all the arguments why the Prime Minister should not be on the ballot. 90 seconds, rebut all of them.
I think you could describe it as...
I give you 2 minutes to rebut them.
I think you could describe it as the monolith. Of course, all the other panelists sing from the same hymn sheet, and it's a monolith, so a lot of repetition. But just to be very clear, we are a nation of laws, not of men. The Integrity Commission, notwithstanding its over 2 years investigation in relation to what we have now come to understand as a probe for illicit enrichment, established no finding of impropriety in relation to Prime Minister Andrew Holness. So much so that the Director of Investigations, Kevin Stevens, elected neither to have the Prime Minister's statutory declarations certified, notwithstanding him having established no finding of impropriety, nor did he elect to pass the Prime Minister's case over to the then Director of Corruption Prosecution. I will find that very curious because during the conduct of his investigation, Kevin Stevens would have been in a position to avail himself of the services of TAJ, Tax Administration of Jamaica, and of course, the Financial Investigations Division, FID, pursuant to a memorandum of understanding that is in place. And there are those of us who look on and believe that what Kevin Stevens did was by design, and the intention was to essentially keep the Prime Minister in abeyance, keep the Prime Minister uncertified, so that precisely what is happening this morning in terms of commentators making the point that the Prime Minister has not been certified, notwithstanding 3 years of filings, is an issue that can be bandied about and made political. So we know that that is so, but even while there are commentators making the points being made on the platform this morning, the Prime Minister is holding his head up, and the Prime Minister is busy working on behalf of the Jamaican people, reducing crime by 36% in the country and opening agri-parks. He did so on Wednesday, and he went to St. James yesterday to deal with housing in the Edmund Ridge area.
Thank you very much.
In East Central St. James.
Thank you very much. Jeffrey,
working.
Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
I give you 90 seconds to respond to all of that.
Working. Open up agri-parks. I think those money that is being spent open up agri-parks could help with the Cornwall Regional, could help with the Solomon Hospital, where the ambulance is not working, a CT scan is not working, a MRI is not working, the building is in a terrible condition. I think those money that are used to build agri-parks could help with other things in this country, could help with paying our teachers better, paying our nurses better, getting proper health care for our elderlies. And, I can go on and on. I don't believe that open agri parks is helping the people of this country in a sense. What they need to do is open up the beaches that the people can go there and relax. Having agri parks open up,
Open
Senator Morgan.
beaches,
I
not
allow you to
agri
speak,
parks.
Senator Morgan. You are not in the parliament of this country. I allow you to speak. Allow me to speak now. Thank you. I don't think that opening up agri parks in this country will assist anybody at all. The people of our country need proper health care, proper education system. No school has been built in this country for the last 9 years that this party has been in power, this government has been in power. None. So why are we coming on air boasting about agri parks, boasting about this, boasting about that, when
Thank you,
the lives
Jeffrey.
of the Jamaican people have not been better off
Thank
since
you.
he takes office? Go ahead.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Seriously though, I believe that the agro parks are quite in need. We have to look at agriculture, Jeffrey, because we have to now start getting ready. And in fact, the Prime Minister spoke about food security now become national security. I think the Prime Minister is really late on that, because we should be dealing with food security a long time ago. So food security is paramount. I want to just add to that. Wilfred Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
90 seconds.
Yes, let me just say that, first of all, tune in today, people, at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock Jamaica time for Region Rattigan, because what we're going to do, we're going to put all the noise aside and look at the facts. Look at what the Prime Minister and the government promised in 2016, promised in 2020, using their manifesto. And you're going to see it is patently clear that they are completely failing the Jamaican people. Two things. The gentleman mentioned something about crime going down.
Yes.
It's one of those things where when this government campaigned on the promise that it would get the crime rate, the murder rate down to below 1,208. That's when they inherited it in 2016. It has not been below 1,208 since. So it's one of those things where you create a problem and you solve the problem and say, look how good I am. It's still not where it was when they inherited it. The second
point
thing is
about that is incorrect, by the way.
They're given the impression that, the Integrity Commission went after the Prime Minister and didn't follow procedure. The Integrity Commission made it abundantly clear that the Prime Minister did not cooperate with the investigation regarding illicit enrichment, and therefore they could not conduct and finalize their investigation. In fact, they had to refer it to the FID. It's very simple. And the last point I want to make, Shaka, is that there are some out there who would say that there was an investigation conducted by the Integrity Commission regarding the Wycliffe Schools investigation up at Beverly Hills, and that the Prime Minister did not own the property, and that the Prime Minister was the subject of the investigation. Tune in today. Last week we debunked that. But tune in today, because we're going to show you, we're going to be visual today, we're going to show you the chart that says at the time when the permits were issued, at the time the construction started, the Prime Minister owned, he was part owner of that property to Imperium.
Thank you.
We're going to show you that he was not.
Thank you, Wilfred.
He was not.
Thank you, Wilfred. We come around back to you.
But Chaka, there's just a 5-second correction to a factually to something that is incorrect. The last year, full calendar year of the PNP, you had 1,208 murders, I reckon. For calendar year 2024, there were 1,139 murders. Lower arithmetically.
All right.
Than 1208.
Thank you.
So I trust that Wilfred Rattigan.
All right. Thank you, Marlon.
Guided.
Thank you. Ed Boy.
No, all I have to say, gentlemen, the numbers don't lie. And if we're going to, I don't think we should be having a comparison between crime, who was better at crime. I don't play politics with crime and health. I think those are two issues that are so critical to a nation. However, the JLP started to play politics when the Prime Minister said, if you live under the PNP, if you vote for the PNP, you'll be likely dead. That's what him said. Say it in our plain patois. Now, the reality of it is that when we look at the management, and this is where I want to rebut what Senator Morgan has said. If we look at the management, we have never had in any country, in any administration, where a prime minister is a constant business person, meaning he's consistently doing business, both himself and his wife. We have never had a scenario where the wife of the prime minister is the Speaker of the House. We have never had a scenario. Remember the JLP said they have always spoke about the first, It's the first we have had a prime minister that cannot publish his statutory declarations. So if we're talking about accountability, transparency, we need to look at those fundamental issues. Because when you look at those fundamental issues, the JLP itself, and not just the prime minister, there are ministers around the prime minister that also cannot be certified.
Thank you very much, Ed Boy. Conrad?
All right. Jeffrey, there are some things that Marlon point out and they are not correct. For example, as it relates to the FID, and no less a person than Dan Jackson Miller, attorney at law, talk show host, and Radio Jamaica, RJR 94 FM group, Gleaner Group. She mentioned, share with Jamaica, here at home and across the world, that the FID was basically contacted early in the piece of the investigation by the IC, and they advised the IC to go on with their business, and after they finish, they will basically send over to them. The fact is that there's a MOU that's in place with the IC and the FID, and this is how it works. What happened is that the IC came to the end of its rope, so to speak, and as a result of that, they sent on the Prime Minister filing now to the chief in financial investigative body in the country for investigating criminal matters there as it relates to finance. When you found wanting there,
Thank you.
90 seconds up already? Well,
yeah, man. In fact, you get 4 seconds over.
All right.
I coming to you now, Marlon, but there are a couple of things I want to put into the mix for you to address. The whole issue of the Prime Minister's statutory filing not being certified. We see where there was a report from the Integrity Commission prior to that one, where the Director of Corruption Prosecution, Ms. Prince Kamika, said that on the first and the second count, she found enough evidence to charge the Prime Minister. You remember that? However, she decided that she wouldn't charge him because of the amount of time that has passed. With that cloud and the present cloud, because you are also saying that the Integrity Commission found nothing untoward. That is not true. The Integrity Commission said that the Prime Minister used charitable funds to buy stocks and bonds. Let me just finish. I'm coming to you. You are going to answer after me. The Integrity Commission said the Prime Minister got a loan from Barita of $50 million without any security. The Integrity Commission said that the Prime Minister did not cooperate with the investigation because they asked him for his personal spending and he did not give them that. The fact of the matter, Marlon, is that the Prime Minister has not been certified. How do you expect the people of Jamaica to deal with this going into the next election?
So, Colin, that is precisely why the Prime Minister has availed himself of the remedy that is at his disposal. He, through his attorneys at law, are pursuing judicial review, because only a court of law pursuant to judicial review can direct and instruct the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission is a creature of statute, a commission of parliament, and they are not above the law. Just to be clear, sir, when matters came before Mrs. Prince Kamika, she had a duty that was perhaps greater than that of any overzealous colleague she may have had at the Integrity Commission. And that is the degree to which any prosecutorial action initiated by her would have been likely to meet with success. Yes? And that is why she made determinations as she did. Because this is the same Keisha Prince Kamika who charged Marissa Dalrymple-Philibert and, of course, the JLP's Leslie Campbell. And it's the same Prince Kamika who charged Dwayne Vaz of the PNP and Michael Phillips of the PNP. So it gives you a sense that this person calls it as she sees it, and operates, unlike some other people, yes, operates in a way that is above board and professional. But just to be very clear, and I want to come back to the point about construction at Beverly Hills that Wilfred Rattigan made, because it was a subject of some program he had. I had to look back at it in terms of the rebroadcast. But just in 15 seconds, yes?
Yeah, man.
PNP and its surrogates have a way of trying to argue things that are not being argued or contested. Nobody, Mr. Rattigan, sought to make the point, certainly I did not, that at the point when the construction at Beverly Hills 2 Wycliffe Close commenced, the Prime Minister was not a person who was a principal in Estate Bridge or have an interest in the entity that owned the property. Nobody made that point. Fast forward to July.
On a point of order, Marlon.
Thank you. Hold on, because Marlon time is up.
No, man, but I haven't made a point. Just
right,
a few seconds to make the point.
Go ahead.
The material juncture, Mr. Rattigan, was that in July of 2024, just last year, a member of the public, we presume, brought a certain matter to the attention of the IC. They alleged that X, Y, and Z was going on at 2 Wycliffe Close, which caused the investigation to happen. At that juncture, my friend, the Prime Minister had no association. He was not a principal and therefore should not have been listed in the report as it does as a person of interest. As it
all right, thank you, Marlon. Thank you.
That's the point we're making.
Thank you.
So don't set up straw man and try to make it down.
Hold on, Marlon. Thank you. Hobie, come in.
All right. You see, that is the reason why it is so important. Is this my term or is the point of order?
The point of order.
The point of order is what Rattigan raises. It is the reason, the very reason why the Prime Minister name was mentioned in the investigation, because when the investigation started, indeed, the Prime Minister was a principal
The
owner.
investigation started in June 2024.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Marlon.
A while ago.
Marlon, thank you. Thank you.
Investigation started not June, July rather.
Marlon, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're coming to you, Jeffrey. Now, one of the things that I want to point out, because Marlon mentioned Mrs. Kamika, that she was the one who did not charge the Prime Minister when she said there was enough evidence to charge him. She was the one who charged Mikhail Phillips, Dwayne Vaz, Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, and what's the next gentleman? Leslie Campbell. But I also want to remind you that Kevin Stevens is the same man who investigate all of them. It's Kevin Stevens investigate Mikhail Phillips. It's Kevin Stevens investigate Dwayne Vaz. It's Kevin Stevens investigate Marissa Dalrymple Filbert.
And what was the material difference?
Let me finish, Marlon.
Sure.
Let me finish. And we want to keep the program that so we don't talk over each other.
Very well.
So it's Kevin Stevens investigated all those people who were found guilty. It's Kevin Stevens investigate the Prime Minister. Jeffrey, to you.
No, but
no, hold on, Marlon. No, Marlon. No,
but I don't want to break the trend of thought. You can come back to Jeffrey.
Write it down, man. You see, I'm keeping a notebook.
Marlon, no, you don't play by the rule here.
Marlon, you're not in the Senate, Marlon.
You won't play by the rules. We are in and Shaka has been extremely kind to you. He is allowing you to do a lot of things.
Yeah, man, and I give Marlon more time than everybody else because Marlon actually is alone. So I give him more time. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Come on, Senator. I expect better from you, man.
Go Jeffrey.
Ahead for me. What was the question again? Because Marlon, my train of thought's gone.
Well, if you want to think about a question or think about a statement, I'll come back to you. Let me go.
You want to think about a question?
Yeah, man.
I can ask a question.
Go ahead. You can ask Marlon a question if you want.
Marlon,
but if you ask Marlon a question, I'm going to allow him to answer before I go to anybody else.
Yes. Marlon, put on my camera.
Marlon is still there? I guess
my brother, like Stone Love, I stand alone and I'm always
my question to you.
All right,
my question to you this morning here. Do you think it is good or right for a senator to be saying on radio, on social media, that some of us will rather swim in the blood of the Jamaican people to get to Parliament?
Marlon, you can answer. Go ahead.
All
You
right,
have 90
excellent.
seconds.
Thank you for the opportunity, gentlemen. So just to be very
90
clear,
seconds.
yeah, man, just to be very clear, right? Kevin Stevens is indeed the person who investigated.
No.
No, man, the question about the blood, the question you answered, Marlon. Why you do it? Marlon, you're not going to do this and get away with it. You're not clever than anybody.
I will come back to that question you posed,
Him have
Jeffrey.
90 seconds.
Ask the question now.
Hold on, Jeffrey. He has 90 seconds. Let's see what he does in the 90
Come on,
seconds.
but be gracious and afford me a little more than 90 because I'm coming to this question you posed.
No, but
Colin,
hold on,
I have to treat with this issue you raised and the issue Jeffrey raised.
Marlon,
may I be allowed to
the
treat
90
the issue
seconds is
you
to
raised?
answer Jeffrey's question. If you want to put other things in it, you can.
Well, I'll just use 20 seconds quickly. You can start the clock now. Just to be clear, Kevin Stevens of the Integrity Commission did something fundamentally different in the 4 reference case, Colin, than he did in the case of Andrew Michael Holness. The reason why those 4 persons were charged, that Vaz, Miguel Phillips, Marissa Dalrymple, and of course, Leslie Campbell, they were charged because he placed the Director of Corruption Prosecution in a position to proffer charges. He did not do that, quite curiously, in the case of Andrew Holness. Again, I say, gentlemen, we are entitled to our own opinions. We are not entitled to our own facts. Kevin Stevens did not elect to pass the matter he was investigating to Mrs. Prince Kamika, and we surmise why. He was perhaps mindful that the lady would not have been in a position to proffer and advance charges, and that is what he sought to circumvent rather. But just to come to Jeffrey's point, Jeffrey, when murders are high in the country, it provides a political platform and a fillip for the detractors of government. In this case, we have seen Peter Bunting waxing warm whenever murders increase in the country. So my characterization, just like the Prime Minister's reference to a dog running down a car, it's a metaphorical characterization, my friend. You cannot apply simple reasoning to figurative language. So I will
Marlon, thank you very much.
Step back from that.
That's 2 minutes.
And appreciate an analogy and a metaphor for what it is intended to be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Wilfred Rattigan.
Yes, Mr. Morgan has seen it fit to call me an antagonist and that I'm trying to bring down the Andrew Holness-led government. Something I don't believe he said about any of the opposition parties. So I take some pride in that because he views me as being rather dangerous, and I'm just one person. Let me just say that he made some statements about the Wycliffe Close development. People, do not believe him. Tune in this afternoon to Rattigan, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to play what the senator said, and I'm going to show you the facts coming out of the Integrity Commission's report. And you will decide for yourself as to whether or not he's speaking the truth or he's trying to mislead the Jamaican people. And we will not have that happen around there. And the last thing, Shaka, is that again, when there's a problem that's created under your watch and you solve it and then you try to compare it to a previous administration, it makes absolutely no sense. From what I'm seeing right here, it's like we're in a black tuxedo with our brown shoes. It won't fit.
Colin.
All right.
Colin.
Marlon.
Just a quick point. There's a program that Wilfred Rattigan was alluding to. Along with Raymond Price, I appeared last Tuesday on CVM TV's Lead Story. When I made the observation I said literally word for word, notwithstanding a certain antecedent. So what I meant by that clearly, Mr. Rattigan, is that there was a point in time when the Prime Minister had an interest in the property at Wycliffe Close. So that's why I said notwithstanding a particular antecedent. So that is not being debated. Nobody is suggesting that at no point in time Andrew Holness had an association with the property at Beverly Hills. What I went on to say, however, the point I went on to make, what I was drawing attention to, is that what is pertinent and what is material is that when investigation commenced And of course, during the conduct of the investigation, the Prime Minister had no interest or no holding in the property, and therefore
was his son a shareholder in the property?
Yes, man, the son is, as far as I'm aware.
Thank you very much.
The son remains a going concern in relation to the property.
Even though his young son is a shareholder, he has
Colin,
no interest.
Is the Prime Minister's son? No, but hold on a moment. Just 5 seconds. Is the Prime Minister's son a subject of Jamaican law
come back to you.
in his own right?
Marlon, we'll come back to you. Go ahead, Rattigan. You wanted a rebuttal.
Just very quickly, his son was a shareholder, and how did his son become a shareholder? Because the Prime Minister gave his son
being debated, my brother. Is that being debated?
The Prime Minister's partner, Norman Bond, gave the Prime Minister's son.
So Mr. Rattigan is debating things that are not being debated.
Listen,
hold on,
Mr. Marlon, antecedents and this and that. Listen to the program today. I'm going to play. You're going to hear it.
Wilfred, you posited last Saturday. You posited last Saturday. Wilfred Rattigan, you posited last Saturday.
Hold on. Ratty, hold on. We're not going to talk over each other. We want the listeners to hear clearly what is being said. When two people are talking at the same time, it not happen. Conrad O'Brien, go ahead.
Indeed, what happened, Marlon Morgan and the Jamaica Labour Party, Andrew Holness, find themselves in a box of brick going to the election to ask the people of Jamaica to once again vote for them. And certainly what we're finding here is a lot of pushback. People are even trying to divorce themselves from comment that they made. We saw Rattigan here pointing it out and will be showing the receipt later this afternoon as it relates to Senator Marlon Morgan. I want to say quickly and two things. The whole business of the numbers as it relates to the murder figure here in Jamaica. Early in the piece, and it's something that had been parroted by Marlon Morgan, a journalist, talk show host, came out and he dubbed P.J. Patterson as the murder Prime Minister of Jamaica. But here what happened. When you look at the numbers, the Prime Minister of Jamaica that has the dubious distinction of a 1,600 plus, the highest per year under his watch is Bruce Golden. Followed with a close second of Andrew Holness, 1,300 and odd when you do the math and you break it down over his 9 years period. When you look at PJ's term and 14 years, you see that it is 900 plus, still too high. But what happened? We need to debunk the mischief and the lies that has been perpetuated about the lowering of crime. Also, Marlon raised the fact that just quickly, Colin, 1 second. Marlon also raised the point about the agri-parks, and like you, Colin, I also posit the view that agri-parks being in place is a good thing for food security and so on. I disagree with Jeffrey on that. However, here's the thing: no less a person than the spokesperson on agriculture, Dr. Dayton Campbell, pointing out that the existing agri-parks that we have in Jamaica, only 35% of those agri-parks are under cultivation. All right. Well, I have a little bit more to say, but I can understand you.
We'll come back to you.
If I may be afforded an opportunity, because there's on an editorial note, there's something I'd like
I'm giving you 90 seconds, Marlon.
No, man, on an editorial note before we come to the 90 seconds.
No, take your 90 seconds.
I am here on a panel of 4 PNP surrogates. And when you consider the host, that is 5. Now, if you have 5 people of one particular persuasion and 1 person of another persuasion, and this is an editorial note, gentlemen, it is just entirely reasonable to afford that one voice over there, so taking on all of the jump and sound them, Stone Love, taking on all of the jump and sound them, and writing them off, afford Stone Love an opportunity. Yes, Stone Love stands alone. But let us be clear, gentlemen.
PNP vintage, you know.
We're getting into the 90 seconds now. my friends, Conrad O'Brien, as he does time and again on radio, articulates things that are not consistent with the truth. At no point in time, OB, have I resigned from what I said. What I said on CVM's lead story, I stand by that. Rattigan has the tape and he can play it here or on his show. And just to be very clear, I made mention of a particular antecedent, which was the Prime Minister was associated with the property at Wycliffe Close in a previous dispensation. At the material time of the Director of Investigation's carriage of the investigation, during his conduct of the investigation, the Prime Minister would have divested himself of his interest in that property. And therefore...
and hence we're saying that those antecedents disqualify the Prime Minister for offering himself.
Obi, hold on, let him go, man.
Just to come quickly to this other point made about crime. Obi, I'm putting it to you that when the GLP demitted office by February 1989, for that year 1988, the full calendar year prior to February 1989, murders were in the order of 440. You see, if we apply simple analysis to public
I want you to also remind that when the PNP took office in 1984, the debt to GDP rate was 262% as well. Since you're going back, the debt to GDP rate was 262% as well.
Conrad, we're not doing this, man. Control yourself.
Conrad, I am able to sit here on a platform this morning because I am aware of my brief as a GLP surrogate and a GLP
but I am also
all right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Gentlemen.
Shaka.
Hold on.
Shaka, I'd like the opportunity to mention, to speak on the crime issue.
Hold on, Marlon. You got 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
But Colin,
hold on, man. Hold on.
The crime numbers thing, I'd like to address that.
Hold on a little bit.
Shaka.
Yeah, Wilfred.
Yeah. Mr. Mark,
hold on, Wilfred. Hold on. Ratty, hold on. Jeffrey, time to go. Go, Jeffrey.
Shaka, I yield to Mr. Rattigan. I'm in the middle of something here.
Go ahead, Ratty.
Go ahead,
Ratty.
Thank you very much, my colleague. No, he mentioned something about the crime, the murder rate dropping, right? He didn't talk to you about the increase in extrajudicial killings. But I want to ask Mr. Morgan a question.
No, but that is your brief.
Mr. Morgan, are you aware of a pool of dead bodies that is known as death investigation, and it's run by the JCF? Are you aware of that pool?
Excellent question, Ratty. Is that a phenomenon that exists? Hold on. Is that a phenomenon that exists irrespective of which party forms government? In other words, that pool of dead bodies and cases, yes, that have still not yet been attributed in terms of murder or concluded one way or another. Is that the case?
What second? Ask a simple question. Are you aware of it? I take it the answer is yes. The second question is, from 2016 to present, how many bodies are in that pool?
In 2013, did we have bodies in that pool?
Answer the question.
Your point is a rubbish point, my friend. Because the substantive point here is that at all material points in time, you have those classifications and that categorization. So that point is a non-point. That's the
question. The question, Marlon. From 2016
so to answer directly, to answer his question, the answer is in the affirmative.
And from 2016 till now, how many in that pool?
Perhaps Wilfred Rattigan is better placed to apply.
What can you do? I
was asked if I was aware.
That's why
I walk around in my top pocket. I walk around with a number in my top pocket about those cases. Come on, my friend. Let's not descend.
All right, hold on, Marlon.
Let's not descend here.
Hold on. Ratty. Ratty, hold on. Hold a sec for me. Gentlemen, hold a sec for me. Hold a sec. I have a question for Senator Marlon Morgan. Senator Morgan, the Prime Minister's statutory filing is not certified. Whether you like how it is done
that is correct,
or not, it is not certified.
That is correct, sir.
And therefore, there's a cloud hanging over the Prime Minister.
Remember that.
The Prime Minister also takes the Integrity Commission to court, a committee that he put in place under his administration, and he wants to move illicit enrichment You want to struck down illicit enrichment as a crime. What are your views on removing illicit enrichment as a crime?
I mentioned earlier, yes, that I am not in the business of contesting or debating those things that are not being debated. I believe that it is consistent.
No, man, hold on,
Senator.
No,
but Colin, you are responsible for the question you pose.
And the
I am
question
the
I
person
ask
who
you,
is responsible for the response I
the
provide.
question I ask you is
I am
about
coming to the response
removing
to your
illicit
question.
enrichment.
No, man, I am coming
Answer
to
the question, Marlon. Stop the obfuscation.
My
Stop
friend,
jumping up and down.
All right, Obi,
Another
alone,
brand,
please.
keep your powder dry. Five man against one.
Go ahead,
Yes, five men that is. Let me be very
You're
clear.
a hard man.
No, let me come back. That I am. I am. Let me be very clear.
And you're the new sheriff in town.
Let me be very clear. So, Colin, that is correct too, Jeffrey. Colin, you are correct that the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, for reasons best known to Kevin Stevenson, have not yet been certified. What we are contending, however,
is known to the Prime Minister.
Conrad, you're losing.
Conrad,
you're
because
losing.
that's not my question, in the Marlon. That's not my question. That was a statement. The question I ask you, the Prime Minister wants to remove illicit enrichment from the law.
Prime Minister,
what are your views about
before the court that is being ventilated? On judicial review, we shall see in relation
Marlon, the Prime Minister asked the court to struck it down. Are you in agreement with it? Is that a point you support? We need an answer from you, Marlon. Are you joining the band of vagabonds to ask for that to be struck down? Is that what you are about? Are you supporting that clause being struck down? We need to hear from you, Marlon. You're not going to get away from that this morning. You're not going. This is not a space that you have a microphone in front of you for yourself to spew a lot of nonsense. Answer the question.
You are the person who spewed nonsense because you said the NWC has retreated from what the data put out. The NWC did no such thing, and on this program, I have done no such thing in terms of disavowing things I said previously. But just to come back to the point, Colin, you are touching on a matter that is sub judice in terms of the very issue the Prime Minister is contesting before the courts. The issue of whether illicit enrichment charge should be struck down and whatnot. We shall see what we shall see.
No, Marlon. You're not going to get away with that. That has nothing to do with sub-judice. But we have to make... No, we have Arden Colin. Marlon is talking nonsense.
He's having a meltdown. He's on a platform with an intellectual giant, and he's losing because he's a superficial thinker. But Colin, I want to come back to the murder averages.
No, Marlon, no, I'm not going back there so yet. No, I'm not going back there so. Obi, you have a question? You have a question for Marlon? Go ahead with your question.
Marlon Morgan, could you please answer the question? Are you in support of the main plank, one of the main plank of the IC, that has the power of basically dealing with the whole business of illicit enrichment, being asked to struck down by the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the most honorable Andrew Michael Radam Brogard Holness? I want you to give an answer to that and don't jump all over the place, please.
That matter is properly before the courts. The Prime Minister's attorney, on the instructions of the Prime Minister, has seen it fit to set out in their
does not negate. We're asking. Please call it. No, but we have to interject. With due respect, Marlon, with due respect, we're not asking you to go into the court. We're asking for a personal opinion of Marlon Morgan.
Yes. Your opinion.
View
if you think it should be struck down.
Your view can coincide with the Prime Minister, you know, but we need to know what's your view.
Excellent question, Obi. My view on the matter, I am electing to reserve my view.
All right, cool.
You are responsible for the question you posed. I'm responsible for the answer I provided. So those 5 seconds,
so
Colin, just the 5 seconds.
Senator, my turn now, Senator. I'm the president of the Senate now, Senator.
I was cut off. I yield to you,
I am the president of the Senate now.
I yield to you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jeffrey. Go ahead.
Marlon, 2 questions for you. Well, 3. One of them is, Richard Hassan took up some stalls and rebuilt the stalls for some people of Clarendon. And the Prime Minister went in a frenzy and said, a dark day in Jamaican history, and you never sit in the Parliament of Jamaica. My question to you is this. Based on all that's going on with the Prime Minister, why don't the Prime Minister resign as Prime Minister of this country?
Excellent question, Jeffrey. But before, listen, because I don't want to truncate the responses, just put the questions and I'll respond. And this one only requires 10 seconds. The then body, the competent authority at the time in relation to the Richard Hassan Spalding's market scandal was the Office of the Contractor General. The Office of the Contractor General found adversely against Richard Hassan, hence the then opposition leader Andrew Holness's position as expressed at the time, and it's a matter of public record, the words he used about not sitting in the Parliament with that particular gentleman. The Integrity Commission, gentlemen, has not found adversely against the Prime Minister. The Integrity Commission, if it did, Kevin Stevenson would have referred the matter to the Director of Corruption Prosecution, and the Director of Corruption Prosecution had nothing on her desk in relation to the IC's probe into illicit enrichment. So let's be clear on that. So in short, Jeffrey, there's a difference between Andrew Holness's matter and Richard Hassan's matter.
All right, sir. One more question.
Brian, just take notes and learn as we go along. Come again, Jeffrey. Go again.
After 3 years.
Hold on, Ratty. Let's Jeffrey go and then we'll come to you.
After 3 years, the Prime Minister's Statute Declaration has not been certified. If it was Mark Golding, would you, Senator Marlon Morgan, the new chair for the Jamaica Labour Party,
Excellent
you would
question.
have come out and say he needs to resign? Why don't you call the Prime Minister to resign?
Excellent question. So you cannot preempt what I would have come out and said.
No, you would have come out and said,
hold on, Jeffrey, man. You posed the question, Mr. President. Just allow me 30 seconds to respond there too, right? So just to be clear, at all points in time, gentlemen, we must operate on the basis of principle and not political expediency. So where any matter comes up, Jeffrey and gentlemen, you have to consider matter on its own merit and the facts and circumstances of the instant matter. So were Mark Golding to be in a situation, yes, that is symmetrical to that of Andrew Holness, I would be of the view that the gentleman is in his right and is in good standing to avail himself of judicial review, as Andrew Holness is doing in this instance. So just to be clear, because it's a hypothetical question you're putting to me, and when an issue arises, as the person I am, the way how I approach problem solving, I consider the circumstances of respective matters in terms of how I come down on the matter.
My final question to you now.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, hold on.
Hold on.
Jeffrey's the president.
Let's go to Ratty.
Jeffrey's the president.
Keep that one and keep that one.
It's the last one. I'm coming to.
The last one, please.
Go ahead, Ratty.
Please.
Ratty, go ahead.
Senator Morgan, I find it quite interesting that you would sit here and debate the issues with four they call them PNP surrogates. But then the one so-called surrogate Rattigan, you won't come on this program and deal with it.
I'm not going to legitimize your platform. You are on the other gentleman here.
But that's fine. I want to ask you a question, sir. Do you know where Moses Park is in Jamaica?
What was that? Moses Park?
Moses Park. Do you know where Moses Park is?
No, perhaps you could tell us, sir. Remember, you are the investigator in the room.
You're a senator in Jamaica.
No, I'm asking you because
Jeffrey,
you know why?
at no point in time do I profess to know all things. The only person, Jeffrey.
Marlon.
Wilfred, just hold a moment.
No, Marlon. No, you
yes,
hold a moment.
Moderator. Yes,
Marlon,
sir.
please allow Wilfred to finish his 90 seconds, and then you will get a chance to respond. Go ahead, Wilfred.
Okay. No, I won't ask the senator to take notes and learn. I'll just ask him to answer this question. In 2016, the government said that it's going to solve the water problem in Jamaica. And it went on later on to say that they are building desalination plants on the coast and they're upgrading the desalination plant that they have at Moses Park. Now, Mr. Senator, please give us a status report on those desalination plants.
Thank you very much.
Wilfred Rattigan will appreciate.
Go ahead, Marlon. Yes. You have 90 seconds.
As Wilfred Rattigan will appreciate. we have respective portfolio ministers in relation to specific aspects of government. And those persons are persons from a programmatic standpoint and in terms of latest updates are well placed so to provide. But separate and apart from that, what I can say on the platform this morning is that in relation to both potable water and irrigation water, there's considerable heavy lifting relative to any other administration in the history of this country that has been done by this Andrew Holness-led Jamaica Labour Party government. The facts are there. You see from time to time new water systems being commissioned. Up in Southeast St. Mary, where Norman Dunn is Member of Parliament, you had the Gibbs Hill water system. Up in Bobby Montague's constituency, the most recent water system was commissioned a few Fridays ago, that one that was a subject of some controversy. So all across Jamaica, a lot of the mischief that has existed in terms of the unreliable supply of water over many years have been resolved by this government, not least to do with the laying of new pipes. It is the case that the PNP former government put down pipes and didn't even connect the pipes. It is the JLP and Andrew Holness that have harnessed water from the Rio Cobre and bringing it into the Kingston metropolitan area to increase the reliability and enhance the reliability of water supply. There's the Negril project that is going on, seeking to build out water supply from the Martha Brae to the western end of the island, because we recognize that the people in Western Jamaica, Hanover and Westmoreland, those who have been long served by the PNP but neglected and treated by the PNP, are being served in terms of water.
Thank you, Senator.
And not just irrigation
hold
water.
on, no, gentlemen, hold on.
One second.
Hold on, gentlemen.
One second. I must say this. I must say that for somebody who said it's not, they are programmatic, it's programmatic, and you have other people talk about water.
You have a million programs in government, sir.
But the one thing the Senator didn't speak about was the desalination plants. That's the question I asked.
About desalination.
Oh, all right, so desalination,
no,
just for the benefit of the listeners, Colin, that's 30 seconds, has to do with harnessing water that has some degree of salt components in it. It's a very costly and expensive proposition. I am not aware as to whether the government has elected to defer some of those mechanisms in relation to desalination, having regard to cost considerations, and have elected to build capacity in harnessing fresh water. And
have you read the manifesto of your party?
Have you read the manifesto, Jeffrey, was edited by me. Yes? So just to be very clear. So Jeffrey, just to be clear, I've just made the point that Matthew Samuda, who is the minister who has immediate responsibility for water, is someone who would be better placed relative to me to respond specifically.
But
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Just a minute. Marlon, I really wanted us to stick to why the Prime Minister should or should not be on the ballot. But of course, there's a myriad of questions because nobody else from your party really steps up to answer questions from us. And that's why we have to big you up. And that's why we also called for you to be a senator. And we want to congratulate you for your position.
And he needs to come on the program too.
I have a question for you, Marlon.
It's my time now.
Hold on, the Obi.
Your time done, man. Your time to come.
Hold on, Marlon. $4 billion.
You know you're afraid of the heavy eating in a Marlon. I know what is all right.
Hold on. $4 billion was allocated by the Andrew Holness administration to complete a census. For the first time in Jamaica, a government has failed to complete a population census in Jamaica. What is the explanation from the JLP?
It's a good concern and a good question, because I too am of the view that it is very disappointing that, notwithstanding the allocation of resources from government to undertake a long overdue census, that while we have had aspects of field work, we have not had completion. And we have heard a myriad of explanations from Statin, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, as to why that is so. But the truth of the matter is that a census is of critical importance, because you need to get a good sense as to your approximate population in the country, so that government's own planning and provisioning of resources can take place to better serve the people in relation to the delivery of public services. So quite frankly, Colin, I concur with you that it is quite regrettable that we have not had a complete census, yes? And we are imploring the leadership of Statin to get together the volunteers, get together the data collectors to go out in the field and improve on what they have ostensibly been doing in the past, which was there have been some delays in the payment.
$4 billion. Who's to be held responsibility for our $4 billion?
There are other issues in relation to the census, which would have served as a turn off to persons being prepared to come in and be data collectors. Because one of the things we can't overlook, gentlemen, and this is just 15 seconds, right? In 15 seconds, one of the things we can't overlook is the fact that there are some tasks and jobs in the country, like, for example, a basic census taker going around to collect persons' data, that persons may not necessarily want to make themselves available for in a thriving economy where unemployment is at record lows. So people are busy being content creators on social media, and many people are busy availing themselves of jobs otherwise.
Colin,
and that is a reality. That is a fact. Unemployment.
All right, Marlon, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Marlon. Obi, hold on. So, Marlon, you are admitting a failure on the government to complete the census. Go ahead, Obi.
Marlon, let me point out to you, as somebody who is on air and underground, it is the most turbulent time in terms of poverty, people being unable to put a food on their table. Just this week, just this week, something that I have been talking about for weeks now, Marlon, and you know, because you called on my program and tried to rebut me on it. The fact that there was a report out from the United Nations that 57% of our people are having problem in finding a meal, a nutritious meal. RJR News carried this week, and I think CVM as well, to basically buttress the point. So you come and talk about a thriving economy. That make absolutely no sense at all. The other thing, Marlon, during the election campaign when the Prime Minister was seeking the job, he walked with a basket almost weekly to the Parliament. And he said that basket was cost $4,000 at the time. At that point in time, the minimum wage was $6,500 per week. Now the minimum wage is $15,000. $15,000. Can that $15,000 today, that is the minimum wage, by even 25% of what was in that basket at the time for $4,000? So the point I'm making is to basically put your argument to shame that you're talking about a thriving economy. The fact of the matter is that what we're having is a low-paid job, and that is why we have Jamaica suffering from a recession effectively, and no amount of talking and redefining of the definition will not work. Let me remind our listeners and viewers what happened within the last within 2024. Q3, the Jamaican economy suffered a decline of 3.5%. In Q4, it suffered a decline of 1.5%. Cumulatively, over the 2 quarters, 5.3% decline. We don't know what is the situation here will be for the first quarter. We don't get that response. Marlon, are you not concerned that hardship on the Jamaican people is much more? I close by saying this, Marlon. In 2016 rather, a pound of chicken, which is the most basic staple that most of us consume, or protein that most of us consume, was about anywhere from $90 to $100 per pound for chicken. To date, we're talking about anywhere from $380 to $410 per pound, right? So just look at where we are now, and you will have a sense of purpose and empathy and sympathy for the Jamaican people. Not for you, Marlon, who is paid as an advisor to a minister and basically getting stipend or getting board fees from all sorts of board that you sit on, and now will be getting a stipend from the Senate that perp like myself. But for you so hard, because I know you're doing everything. the heavy lifting, including, as you just say, you edited the manifesto, and are you not feeling hard done as to how the Labour Party and Andrew Holness dealt with you to look at you belatedly 3 months
Hold on, Obi. Let Marlon go now. Go ahead, Marlon.
In private conversation earlier this week, I said to Obi that he should perhaps go and try out to be a thespian, a comedian, because he's quite hilarious, and his editorializing just now bore that out. But on to serious matters, Obi is correct that there are some members of the Jamaican family who are experiencing economic financial hardship. We have always had that being the case.
And you view that as hilarious.
Hardship has not been on account of policy failure. Yes, we are an economy and a society where there have been some structural and fundamental deficits over many years. But let us fast forward to the present moment and what has been happening, certainly since the GLP took office in March of 2016. I spoke at the very outset on this program about the macroeconomic stability that the country is enjoying. I spoke earlier about the thriving economy that we have. And when we
No,
that's
not true.
Mr. Moderator, but I am cheering. You're cheering rather, and I am speaking. We have an opportunity. Just to be clear, inflation. Colin, one of the signal indicators of how people's pockets are faring is inflation. Wouldn't we be agreed on that? No, this government has presided over low inflation and moderate inflation since taking office. There was a period in time over which we had a blip in inflation in terms of increases, and this was the immediate post-COVID environment.
The inflation under the PNP in the last 4 years was 5%.
Right? When we had challenges in shipping and logistic chains post-COVID or amid COVID, you had inflation pressures as a result of that. But owing to the central bank's targeting of inflation, we have inflation within the targeted band of 4 to 6%. It was at 4.7%.
Marlon, it pain me heart to have to sit down and hear you talking this nonsense.
Hold on, Obi.
You have to determine if you want
to. Inflation that we're talking about has nothing to do with the average man. Marlon knows that. No, Colin. Marlon knows that the inflation that the basic food basket has nothing to do with what he's saying.
When you do what you're doing now, I sat and listened to your editorializing a while ago, and all that you said, including some of the gimmickry. Yes.
So finish, Marlon. You're at 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
I'd like to have an opportunity. I'd like to have my 2 minutes beginning now.
No. You are 2 minutes and 40 seconds now. Go ahead. I'll give you 60 seconds more.
So just to be clear, yes, inflation is a tax on people because it erodes people's purchasing power. And to the extent that this government has been increasing minimum wage at levels that no previous government has done, is commendable. The minimum wage commencing June 1 will be $16,000 per 40-hour work week. And of course, as we know, there are more persons in Jamaica in jobs now than at any time. So are there hardships? Yes. Are families struggling? Which is why, Conrad, the government is coming with the Solidarity Initiative. The government has increased past payments. The government has kept no new
solidarity, man. The last time we see it as some hand cat, and this time at 20.
Solidarity is going to assist some of our Jamaican brothers and sisters who are not captured anywhere else in terms of social support and welfare, and giving them some of the dividends.
All right, Marlon. Thank you very much.
Economic successes.
Thank you very much, Marlon. Yeah, man, I will. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
My question to you again, Senator Ron Gan.
No, man, I'm a listen, man.
My question is this to you, Senator. Can any Jamaican open a bank account without any money in the bank account, sir?
Yes, Jeffrey. I'll answer.
It can happen?
Yes.
No, man, that's an excellent question, Jeffrey. And I'm happy that Colin just responded because
Colin, we don't waste no time on that because the answer
it's just 12 seconds, man. It's just 12 seconds. Context.
I have one more question.
Colin, remember, Colin, your successor over in Portland Eastern says context matters, and he's correct.
Man, and the answer is
just
yes.
To be clear, but
so
Jeffrey, just to be clear,
context than that.
Financial institutions will elect to afford courtesies from time to time based on their calculation as to the likelihood of recovering funds and the
Jeffrey?
likelihood of the move.
Marlon, thank you very much.
Yes,
Jeffrey,
thank
go
you.
ahead with the next question.
But that what Marlon said not really make a lot of sense just now.
Jeffrey, go
Because
ahead with the next
that
question,
has
Jeffrey.
nothing to do with opening a bank
Go ahead,
account.
Jeffrey, go ahead. I yield.
All right.
I'm talking about an unsecured loan, my friend.
Marlon, a couple of questions. Because you keep mentioning that the economy is good and that's not true. Presently, the Jamaican economy is in a recession. And I want you to respond to that. I'm just going to ask everything one time. The Jamaican economy is in a recession.
And my view is no.
In 2016, it's not your
view.
view. This is not
Your
a view. This is a fact. The recession, the economy of Jamaica is in a recession. In 2024, the first quarter, the economy grew by 1%. The second quarter grew by 0.8%. The third quarter was down by 3.8%. The fourth quarter went down by 0.8%. A recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. So the recession, let me finish.
Sure.
The economy is in a recession.
So just
the next
thank you for the question, Colin.
No, I'm not.
You're not true. Okay,
the next thing is that you keep mentioning that unemployment is low. However, poverty in 2016 was at 11%. In the budget debate on the chart that the Prime Minister showed, poverty is at 12.1%. So with our unemployment being low,
Colin.
Let me finish, Marlon. Poverty is at 12.1%. How is that possible? You are also saying that
excellent
the dollar
question.
You're also saying that the dollar is at the stablest it has ever been. Even
and remember, 700 people are out of the workforce. Right. 700 people out of the workforce.
Let me finish. Let me finish, gentlemen. The Bank of Jamaica spent $1.1 billion in 2024 defending the Jamaican dollar. Marlon Morgan, explain all of that to my listeners and viewers and tell them how come the economy is still stable with all the facts that I put on the table.
All right, so Colin Bell is absolutely correct, listeners and viewers, that inflation ran at the poverty levels in the country was running at in the order of 11% back in 2016 when the whole estate government took office. What Colin elected not to point out is that we had a phenomenon called COVID.
Nonsense you're talking. We talk about the raw numbers. It's
Conrad,
allow him, no man.
You are not just descending. You are exhibiting things that I would want to use adjectives to describe this morning.
Just a sec. Marlon, just a sec. Conrad, let us remember that the people, we have close to 1,200 persons watching this program right now. And a lot of them are very smart. And most of them do understand. So allow Marlon to say his piece. And you will get a chance to rebut. Go right ahead,
You're very
Marlon.
correct, Colin, because a lot of the listeners and viewers are very smart. And it is for that precise reason why they have noted the stewardship of the economy by this government and will be voting Labour in a few months or weeks from now. Anyway, to come back to the observations you placed on the table.
Yes.
Central Bank, Colin, irrespective of what Ralston Hyman will channel to people like yourself, is doing precisely what a central bank should do, because economic stability, macroeconomic stability, is what you want to be preserved and maintained and advanced in the country. So from time to time, as businesses, for example, seek to make purchases overseas and will have foreign exchange demands and requirements of theirs, you will need to intervene as a central bank to keep the Jamaican dollar stable. That's precisely why we have a central bank, and that is why we have healthy foreign reserves in the country. But just to come to the fundamental point, the economy is thriving, and all the important macroeconomic indicators suggest that while we had 2 successive quarters of economic decline last year, the truth of the matter is that in terms of making a statement about being in recession, that is a superficial and an antiquated assessment of our economy, gentlemen.
What is a recession?
Economic recession is a significant, it is defined as a significant downturn in economic activity.
Where you find that?
And in this case,
where you find that? Tell us where to find that definition.
In this case, I just gave you the definition.
That's the GLP's definition.
Well, Colin, you can quote me and other commentators. You can quote other commentators and myself in relation to that definition.
What is the dictionary's definition of a recession?
In economic activity. You are an enterprising researcher, Colin. Go and research it. But just to be clear and come back to a couple of the things that undergird the point I just made a while ago. Were we in recession, my friend, you would have had job losses in droves in the country. You would have had, yes, inflation in a topsy-turvy scenario. You would have had all kinds of ills in the macroeconomy. And you're not having that at present.
Is Germany in a recession?
Government revenues are performing, and they are performing in such a way that you're able to deliver critical capital projects, and you are able to provide a number of social support to the population. I just spoke to Spark. Just last year, we saw the reverse income tax credit, and you have a suite of other initiatives like those. And the government just passed a budget, Colin, with no new taxes.
Jeffrey,
he has never done that before.
Marlon, you have gone the 90 seconds. Hold on. You have gone the 90 seconds, and I want to come to you, Jeffrey. But Marlon, what is the dictionary's definition of a recession? Not the GLP's definition.
Excellent question.
The dictionary.
Just made mention to you that there is this prevailing superficial, antiquated definition, which is two consecutive quarters of economic downturn. But Colin, may I respond and allow the response?
No, but
two consecutive quarters of economic downturn has been in an antiquated and outdated sense, which is why more progressive thought and more astute academic outlook has pivoted away from that.
Is Germany in a recession?
What is fundamental?
Is Germany in a recession?
Could you allow somebody else to speak?
Obi, I am the chair, please. Is Germany in a recession, Marlon?
Let me defer that question to Jeffrey Tavares, Mr. President himself.
Jeffrey, go ahead.
Oh, by the way, Jeffrey, let me convey condolences to you and your family, my friend, on the loss of your dear father. I mean that in all sincerity, notwithstanding the ills in the health sector, but the truth is, you're a patriarch. The patriarch of your family is no longer with you and the family, and I commiserate with you and the
Thank you very much, sir.
Clan in that regard.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
My question to you, though. Have you ever been to Westmoreland? Do you know about the rolling river in Westmoreland?
It's one of the things I have on my bucket list. I know Westmoreland very well. I've never been to Roaring River, however.
I want you to go down there.
A list of things to do.
I want you to go down there because you can ask the president of the Senate about Rolling River.
Roaring River, yeah.
Yes, ask the president of the Senate about it. Family members of mine have property rolling around through our properties. But why I ask you the question, why is it that they're going all the way from Trelawney to put water into Negril when the rolling river is right there, could supply the entire Westmoreland? That make any sense?
Well, that's a good question. The technical people, as you would appreciate, would have done the respective assessment and the feasibility study. The idea, Jeffrey, is that the Martha Brae system will not only be serving the Negril and the greater Westmoreland area. You have other corridors, and so I suspect that the determination would have been made that, listen, building out from Martha Brae would help you to serve areas in St. James, areas in Hanover coming down, and areas in Westmoreland. So the economies of scale may well be what is at play. And because remember, to do a significant project of this scale and this nature would be a massive undertaking in terms of capital investment and capital infrastructure, right? So if you were to do something that would cause you to come across to Negril and then have to go up, it may be easier, it is determined, to come down in relation to Martha Brae, linking across St. James, linking into Hanover, and linking into Westmoreland. So technical and competent personnel, Jeffrey, do feasibility, they do their assessment, and they are the experts, not us as armchair experts.
But Senator, listen to me.
Sir.
The water in the rolling river can supply 3 parishes.
I agree.
Let us just stick to Westmoreland and Hanover. Because between Hanover and Westmoreland, Hanover have the most hotels known. And we must admit that.
Yes,
not really Westmoreland, Hanover. So why they don't use the rolling river as the supply for the Westmoreland Hanover area?
All right, so excellent question, Jeffrey. So in short, I think that is an appropriate question that it would be good to have a member of the technical team from the NWC responding to, because I'm just giving you a philosophical outlook in that these competent persons would assess and consider the possibilities that are on the table and make a determination ultimately at the route in which they're going. So for strategic reasons, I surmise the competent authorities, the technical people, the experts have elected to connect from Martha Brae in order to serve such areas as St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. I don't dismiss our
Thank you, gentlemen.
saying any at all that Roaring River could have been tapped, and there are gallons of water, millions of gallons of water that we could have abstracted from the Roaring River in Westmoreland.
Thank you, Marlon. Thank you. Go ahead, Ratty. Rattigan? Not hearing Ratty.
I think he may have left here.
Come on. Easier. Go ahead, Ratty. Yeah, man.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on the program. I must be taking my leave now because I have to prepare for this program at 3.
Right.
And I just want to say, yeah, it's been a blessing to sit here and have a civil conversation with everybody. I extend the invitation again from for Senator Marl Morgan to come on the program, and since he must turn up and stand alone, but me and Rattigan, we stand alone. So we can come and we can have a civil discussion as we're having here. Now, one of the things I'll be doing when I leave this program is I'm so happy that the Senator said that he's the one who edited the manifesto, because we're going to show today what he edited. And there's so many questions I want to ask him, Shaka. And I know that he cannot answer the questions because here's what happened. I have source information and I have information from the government. And if I ask him, he's going to be embarrassed. So let me ask him 2 questions in one. I'm just not asking 1 question, but two things that I think he can answer. Now, Senator Morgan, listening to you, if somebody who doesn't know anything about Jamaica would think that Jamaica is fine, Jamaica is a paradise, everything is going well, the government is well governed. So let me ask you this. It's not perfect. I want you to tell this audience and the panel, I want you to tell us 2 things that the government failed to deliver as promised, made a mistake, miscalculated, or misrepresented to the people. And I also want you to tell us what course corrective action will be taken and when.
Thank you.
All right, just to be clear, gentlemen, thank you for that, Wilfred.
90 seconds.
Just to be clear, I made no claim that everything in Jamaica is hunky-dory and fine, or Jamaica is paradise. In fact, I made the point when Conrad raised the issue of the legitimate hardships and the real challenges confronting some Jamaican household. I commiserate, and I am delighted, however, that the government is seized of it and is actively doing the things that are required to respond. Just to throw out an example of something that, in hindsight and on reflection, government could have done differently, Ratty, perhaps those used cars for the policemen and women is one of those initiatives that did not pan out in the way it was envisaged to pan out. It's not that it was philosophically unsound. The truth of the matter is that there were logistics challenges in relation to harnessing, getting in, and delivering all the used cars that were envisaged to have been purchased. But suffice it to say, government has pivoted away from that. We have the JCF being appropriately mobilized, which is why this commissioner, Wilfred, is more successful than you could have ever been were you to have been given the job of police commissioner. And of course, separate and apart from that, in terms of the police used cars, I believe it is unfortunate that we did not have a completion by the commissioners of the FinSAC report, because it would have relieved this government of the aspersions that persons cast in relation to, of course, yes, having things to hide.
There is a report.
Because there
is a report.
Well, no, there's not.
Release it.
So Colin, let me speak to that.
Is the publication of the report is the problem, not the report.
My brother,
is a report. Release it.
Just allow me. There was a commission that was put in place or instituted in relation to the financial system meltdown of the mid to late 1990s. Yes? So just to be clear, they, pursuant to Nigel Clark's update in the budget debate of last March 2024, they had draft chapters of a report. They did not have a report. They had draft chapters of a report. So in other words, a report that was a work in progress, but also they had exhibits, critical documents.
A draft was submitted to Ardlishaw for review. A draft report was submitted to the JLP for review.
I am reiterating here the update provided by one Dr. Nigel Clark last year. Remember, I'm the person who ventured this on the record, you know. I'm the person who brought this to the fore.
No, man, but you can't help this. You have to put it out there, because you know there's something that is quite burning.
Conrad, I'm the person, in response to my good friend Wilfred Rattigan's question just now, who made used cars. Come on. I have an event, a family and friend social event that I'm going to be attending upon.
So you don't join this?
Gentlemen, hold on, Marlon. You're gone 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Ratty.
I'm through now, my G.
Yes. All right, Ratty, you say you have to go. Thank you very much for being with us, my
brother. All the best, Wilfred. I won't be joining you,
right,
but I trust you are appreciative.
I
won't be joining you, my friend, because you are smarting from, you are reeling from not having gotten the nod as police commissioner.
No, Marlon.
No, tell about that. Thank you, Ratty.
All right, gentlemen.
All right. Marlon.
Gentlemen, I unreservedly withdraw that
information
just now.
I want to be quick. I want to be quick on this. I want to be quick on this to my friend and colleague, Marlon, Senator Marlon Morgan. Marlon.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the whole business of recession. I'm sorry, of inflation, right?
Yeah.
To basically buttress your point to move away from the recession that we're facing. And as you went along, you, as the JLP have been doing and other surrogates, you try to redefine the meaning of recession. But since we want our people to be knowledgeable at all time, I reiterate, recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative decline. And in Jamaica, we witness Q3, that is the third quarter, a decline of 3.5%. And in Q4, the fourth quarter of 2025, we record another quarter of 1.5 decline. To date, we have not gotten the report for the first quarter of 2025 to see whether or not we are still in the recession or we move out of the recession door. But based on the record that we have, Jamaica is effectively in a recession. Now, Marlon, and I know you're aware of this, but I'm doing this for the listeners and viewers because you will try to paint a different picture. The fact of the matter is that in recession, and this is economics 101. In economics 101, you have different shape of recession. This recession, based on the underpinning that you're saying that is in place, and we are not going to move away from it, such as the fact that we have the inflation as it is measured there at a lower level, some other things and so on. We are seeing where we could describe this recession as a V-shaped recession, which is the economics book will show you that is the recession that is less taxing, right? That is less taxing. So we could move out of it. It's not like a L-shape or other shape recession that basically prolong and persists. So let us basically disseminate timely and accurate information that allow that to go. I want to move quickly, Marlon, to the whole business of inflation as it impacts the average person. Because, and why it is so different is that almost 100% of what the people at the bottom quintile earn goes into food. And that is where the inflation is dangerous. So what we have seen is our inflation that is in the region of 40, 50, 60% that the people are facing. And that is why Colin so eloquently pointed, our gracious host Colin, so eloquently pointed out to you that what we have seen is an increase, an uptick in poverty, not a reduction. And that is why the people of Jamaica are chomping at the bit rather, and saying, call it, Andrew, call it. Because they are disappointed. They are disappointed because the Prime Minister, there are two, and I had this in closing. And remember this, the people are watching. There are two persons offering themselves to become Prime Minister. One is certified, one is not.
There are two people offering themselves to be Prime Minister. One is Jamaican and one is British Jamaican.
Lie, you Kelly. Lie.
Hold on, gentle people.
Is Mark Golding not British Jamaican?
Hold on.
Don't go down that road, Marlon. It's time we stop that.
That's all right. The fact of the matter is, the Constitution of Jamaica requires you to be a Commonwealth citizen to become Prime Minister of Jamaica.
And we don't begrudge a gentleman for his British ancestry.
It sounds so.
And Benjamin Nunes as his grandfather or great-grandfather.
Hold on. The Constitution of Jamaica requires one to be a Commonwealth citizen to become Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Again, Colin.
Marlon, hold on.
People are indeed happy, Marlon, with Mark, because Mark has not been investigated for illicit enrichment.
Mark have a problem with him.
Jamaica deserves a Prime Minister who did not benefit from the greatest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich in this country.
And
Colin,
the thing
I'd
about
like
it,
an opportunity to respond to Conrad O'Brien a while
We're
ago.
not come to you yet. Let me say this.
Sure.
The whole thing about things that the government had promised that they did not do. I want you to respond to the government promise to grow this economy by 5% in 4 years, and their failure to at least get to 2% growth.
Excellent question.
Two, hold on, that's one.
No, but break out the question. One time. Break out the question then. So I'm going to go with this first one. Let me go with this first one. Colin, the androgenous that I know is one thing I know about him. As a black Jamaican who was raised in a board house.
You know, he's very vindictive. He did not give you a position after the heavy lifting. He's a vindictive man.
Conrad, just park yourself over there a little bit.
Hold on a little bit. Gentlemen.
Just park yourself over
Marlon,
I respond to a question.
Marlon, you have a pen before you?
Yes,
because I want to just ask the questions and then I give you your 90 seconds.
But more than one at a time, G.
No, man.
DJ might tune them one at a time.
Hold on, man.
Hits after hits.
Yeah, DJ off key. The 5 and 4, you fail to do that.
What am I not? What DJ have about? Iron balloon. Iron balloon. The DJ, the iron balloon. Hard for boss.
Hold on, man. Gentlemen. We're going to wrap up shortly. I want Marlon to tell me what is the government's projected growth for 2025? So two questions.
Yeah.
2 questions. Your failure to grow the country by 5%.
My recollection is the
years.
projected growth is between, I got the questions, man. You're fine.
And your
the projected growth, as I'm recalling it, is between 1.5 and 2%.
That's not true,
I've seen where the IMF have projected 1.
Go back and look at your budget presentation. Your projected growth is between
Marlon,
0
the host is saying that it's not
0.8%.
true, and he has the figure, he has the number, allow him. The host is saying it's not true, so tell him the figure.
Look back to your budget.
Can I come back to the question?
Go ahead.
No. Clear up that first. Hold on, Margie. Clear up that first. You don't know what the projection is?
The IMF has projected.
No, Marlon, please, Marlon. Colin different from me. No, you're not going past here, sir. You're not going to move past this one. You utter some wrong numbers. Is it that you're not aware of the number or what? Colin has it. Colin has it right there.
For us. There is a medium-term set of numbers. Gentlemen, Colin.
Yeah, go
ahead.
You
want me to hold on?
No, man, it's a caller. There's a caller on the line.
Okay, very well.
So you go ahead. No, man, you go ahead.
There is a fiscal policy paper that sets out over the medium term the forecast and the projection vis-a-vis growth. for the benefit of our listeners, so that we do not eventually have to be debating things that are not up for debate, can you kindly cite the respective numbers for the benefit of the listeners and viewers?
Your projected growth for 2000.
Yeah. There are 3 fiscal years that the numbers are there for.
In fact, for the next what? 3 years.
Because Conrad doesn't realize that he's
your projected growth is between 0.8%.
That is for FY 25-26
and 1% for the next 3 years.
And then FY 26-27, what's the projection?
Next 3 years. For the next 3 years.
Colin.
This year, 2026, 2027, your projected growth is between 0.8% and 1%.
Yeah. A while ago.
No, Marlon, you must apologize to the Jamaican people. You must apologize similarly, similar to the apology that you owe yourself and others about walking in blood to go to Jamaica. To go
Hold on, Obi.
You need to apologize.
I am not on a platform for a failure to show that he's a comedian.
Go ahead and explain the failure of 5% in 4
you know,
years,
when you hear facts and you want to describe that comedic, the people laugh at you. The people are basking in the glory that I'm presenting facts, and you cannot manage it and deal with it. That's what you must have.
Go ahead, Marlon.
Conrad O'Brien is the most desperate comrade around town. He knows what is happening. He knows that Mark Golding is underwater, and he knows that Northwest Manchester,
in which
St. Mary,
Senator, in which way Mr. Golding is underwater, and you, Senator, this question for you. Was Mr. Siaga born in Jamaica?
He was born in Boston, Massachusetts. But he's one of the most Jamaican persons you can ever find.
In fact, where was Mark Golding born?
Jeffrey,
that's the thing. We do not know definitively. We have heard assertions and allegations. We do not know definitively where Mark Golding was born. But just before I come back to Colin Bell's question, let me say this, Jeffrey. Just to come to your question. Edward Siaga was born in Boston.
Desperation,
Edward Siaga voluntarily divested himself of US citizenship to fully attain Jamaican citizenship and be a citizen of Jamaica in its entirety.
Well, let me ask you this question. Hold on.
Before I come to the question, allow me to give Mark Golding the hit.
Mark
Golding had to be dragged kicking and screaming
because he never need to
in relation to Jamaica.
Because there's nothing in law that requires him for an American citizen to sit in the Parliament of Jamaica. That
absolutely
is illegal.
Colin. More than you're eating coal and your own head.
Gentlemen,
there was no legal requirement. And I want to ask you this, Marlon. Was there a legal requirement for Mark Golding to renounce his citizenship?
Tony Mataran, back in 2006, I believe.
No, answer the question.
Come on.
Was there a legal requirement? Was there a legal requirement for Mark Golding to renounce his citizenship?
Mark Golding held citizenship in a Commonwealth country. Yes, I believe that there's a matter that should be tested in our courts as to whether
you know, man, if I was marking your paper, I would have to put the you ungraded because basically you don't know how to answer a question. You don't know how to answer a question. You're advocating and jumping all over the place. Answer the question.
I've implored you to park yourself over one part. Perhaps you will learn something from this response I am providing.
Yeah, man.
Hold on. Respectfully, Marlon Morgan. Senator Morgan.
I'm responding to the
Senator Morgan. Conrad O'Brien is my guest on the show. And I'm asking you to stop the disrespect. No, but there's a disrespect that you're bringing forward that I'm asking you to stop and desist.
I'm a Conrad speak and then I speak.
Go ahead, Marlon Morgan.
Very well. Thank you, Mr.
And you must apologize before you come on, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, Conrad, I apologize for the remark I made just now. Anyway, let me move on to the substantive observation, gentlemen. The British crown is divisible. King Charles is the king of Jamaica. King Charles is the king of the United Kingdom. As king of the United Kingdom, he is not king of Jamaica. He is king of Jamaica in the divisible aspect and understanding of the crown. So just to be clear and reiterating the point.
Who's the head of state of Jamaica?
Hold on, let me come back to it. It
Who's
is
the
King
head of
Charles,
state?
my brother. Colin, I don't want us to debate the things that are not even up for debate.
No, but it is important, Marlon, based on the point that you are raising. It is important. You can't have one being discussed without the other.
Very simple
can you
question.
just ask Conor
Is there a
O'Brien
legal requirement for Mark Golding to renounce
his exuberance?
No, Senator Morgan.
But I'm responding to a question.
Senator Morgan, you cannot come and talk about what is that debatable.
When you bring it in the mix.
But I just answered.
The simple question
is King of Jamaica.
The simple question. Is
King
there a
Charles?
legal requirement
Jeffrey,
for Mark Golding to
Colin,
renounce his citizenship?
Colin, if I may, sorry, Senator Morgan, please, if I may, Colin, you have to hold. Morgan is very, very slippery, right? He's slippery. As big as he is, because he tries to go through a chicken coop mesh, right?
No.
Go a small mesh. As big as he tries to go through
Marlon
there.
is not
So
slippery.
what Marlon is doing, Colin, is trying to run out the time without answering the question. There are some germane questions that are on the board. One that you yourself, Colin, asked, and Jeffrey doubled down on it. Who represent the king in Jamaica?
The Governor General.
So why you take so long to answer it?
The gentleman asked me who is the head of state.
But
the head of state is the king of
that also asks who is the head of state?
But the
Who's the head of
question
state?
before.
Two separate questions have been asked.
No, but since you're at it, Marlon, answer who is the head of state? Who is the head of state, Marlon?
Jamaica is King Charles, King of Jamaica. Do you understand?
No, the head of state in Jamaica is Sir Patrick Allen.
Sir.
No.
Patrick Allen is the king's representative.
Represents the head of state.
But
so the head of state is the king.
He is the domicile head of state. He's the domicile head of state.
Colin,
I need a
I am not going to impose
it's a simple
myself on
question.
Conrad's views.
Hold on.
But you asked me a question about the legal matter. So that's why I'm responding to it by saying this. In my view, the matter is up for contest legally. Because the truth is, King Charles, in his capacity of King of the United Kingdom, is a different King Charles from King Charles in his capacity as King of Jamaica. Because the British crown, the UK sovereign, the crown is divisible, gentlemen. For those who don't know, go and research what that means. Go and look up what that means. The crown.
Can I interject for a second, Colin?
Just keep calm. Let me finish.
No, just 1 second, Marlon.
Let him finish, Obi.
Marlon, I am a radio host. And I have to basically be aware of this. Hold on. What you're talking about, Colin, it was ventilated in the courts, right? So there is absolutely no argument as to whether or not Mark Golding, Matthew Samuda, Babsy Green, and all of those persons who, with the exception of Mark Golding, know who decide to renounce. That was not incumbent on doing, but decide to do it nonetheless.
Let me take a call.
Hold on. In the Jamaican Parliament and to offer themselves at the highest level, that being Prime Minister. You're not going to come and spew this kind of nonsense here, Marlon.
It won't want to speak. I'd like to respond to the question.
Marlon.
So just to be clear, the Darl Vaz Abdab case and the court held on the matter. It turned on the swearing of allegiance to a foreign power. Similarly, King Charles, in his capacity and incarnation as King of the United Kingdom, the case and the legal argument can be made that he is a foreign power relative to Jamaica. Because
nonsense,
mute the gentleman.
Rubbish you're talking. Rubbish you're talking. Rubbish you're talking.
Why are you losing the debate, my friend? That's why you're dissenting. Conrad,
And I
you are
man, so
losing
you must tell him and put him in a place where he can talk
But
rubbish.
Conrad, can we allow the man to speak? Go ahead,
We
no, man.
got to hear in foolishness, man.
He has abdicated. Good. Leave the chair. He has abdicated. So just to be clear, King Charles, the British crown is divisible. King Charles is king of the United Kingdom and at the same time is king of Jamaica. So in his capacity as king of the United Kingdom, under whose allegiance Mark Golding is under, Mark Golding would have sworn allegiance to a foreign power, certainly by virtue of not just his birth or his parentage rather, but more so on account of his own actions, like Darvaz, because Mark Golding from time to time would have renewed his British visa as an adult. So therefore, he would be under an acknowledgement of allegiance to a foreign power. King Charles, as king of the United Kingdom, is a foreign power in relation to Jamaica. As king of Jamaica, he is our head of state, at least up to now, until we get to a Jamaican republic. So
let me ask you this question.
I believe, what I'm positing, but just before you come in, Jeffrey, what I'm positing is that this issue of Mark Golding should be tested in the courts, quite frankly.
All right, caller, go ahead.
When you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, when you're going to file the action, because you can file the action, when you're going to file it.
Gentlemen, let me take a call, please. Go ahead, caller.
All right, blessings. All right, so you have a show today, and I'm your host of your show today. So
yeah,
somebody fun is in the background, Colin, I can't hear.
So that's why it gets so rough. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's rough because everybody has speak, you know. All right, so listen, everybody. All right, no, when I say to Marlon is right, Marlon. You see, sometimes when you have evidence and you're strong and confident in the way you say, and every time you just have a defend, you know, you see me? You must pose questions too, because I realize you're being ambushed by 3 to 4 persons. Because before one even done ask next question and before you even answer it, there is an actual question at you. And this is what I said to you. No, even though you're a public figure and you're supposed to represent the
Caller, you have a question? If you have a question for one of us, we'll take the question. Because if you realize we're not really taking calls this morning. So if you have a question for one of us, go ahead with the question.
All right, that's a question then. Right? This is what I said to Marlon, but I'll ask the question to you guys then. All right? Since you guys are showing all these questions to Marlon, right? Name from your side any other prime minister that has done better than Andrew Holness at this present. All name right. What have done better, all right? And why you think that they are a better prime minister than Andrew Holness? Name Porsche, name PJ, name PJ, name all of the prime ministers that have come up before.
All right.
And tell me why they are better.
All right, cool. You have some time to listen to that. All right, thanks. I don't know if somebody have a fan on in their background. It's very
yes,
very
I
low.
do. I do.
Thank you very much. All right. Now, Marlon Morgan, you know, answer nothing about the 5 in 4. You leave that. I know that's a sore point.
No, man, I was going to answer, man.
But that's all right.
Answer I was giving when I spoke about Andrew Holness and the board house. I said Andrew Holness, the Andrew Holness that I know is an ambitious person, as he should be. Yes, the idea is that to grow Jamaica's economy by leaps and bounds is something that is absolutely, you know, something that we should all aspire to. And the truth of the matter is that we did not.
What Marlon is what you said in the Jamaican economy is what?
I said it is something 5 in 4 is something that all Jamaicans having any modicum of ambition should aspire toward.
Okay.
Now, just to be clear, we are where we are. We have not secured 5%.
You need some water to drink?
But the truth of the matter is that we are pivoting toward growth, having consolidated Jamaica's macroeconomic stability. But I have to run, gentlemen.
Pivoting after 9 years. Pivoting after 9 years. And I just
later.
So man, make him talk, no man. Make we hear what he must say. We can't hear
I was just indicating, gentlemen, that I have to take leave of the platform now. I have to go to a particular chore that I have to attend upon just now.
I'm begging you 3 more minutes before you go.
Very well. I'll acquiesce to that.
Because I really want to school you this morning, Marlon. When the promise of the 5 in 4 was made, it was made because of the heavy lifting done by Portia Simpson Miller and Peter Phillips after Bruce Golding, Andrew Holness.
It was heavy taxing, you mean? Heavy taxing.
Marlon alone to speak, no Marlon. Come on, man.
It was after Bruce Golding, Andrew Holness, Audley Shaw crashed the Jamaican economy when they went to the IMF, took a wrong deal, couldn't cross it, and failed. Portia Simpson Miller, Peter Phillips, Mark Golding did the heavy lifting, built a solid foundation.
Remind them, Colin, that the economy declined by 5% during that period.
Right. And the hold on. The NIR went down from $2.5 billion to $1 billion. And when Portia Simpson Miller, Peter Phillips, and Mark Golding built it back to $2.5 billion, set out the foundation, Andrew Holness saw it, Audley Shaw saw it, and said, wow, if this is so good, we are going to grow the economy. They brought in leaching. The fact is, Marlon, even when you have aspiration, if you don't have no plan, then you're not going to get anywhere. So I'll tell you why they couldn't grow the economy. They did not have a plan to grow the economy. It was just aspiration, like sleeping with your door and your window open. No, the failure of this government to grow the economy and a projection of 0.8 to 1% growth, is it now that you are saying that Prime Minister Andrew Holness has lost his ambition?
First of all, just to be very clear, maintaining macroeconomic stability is fundamental to securing and ushering in economic growth. But more importantly, and not to be overlooked in this conversation either, is that what happened in the first term of the Andrew Holness-led government was a paying down of Jamaica's debt to make more fiscal space available to attend to many of the deficits that were inherited from the Portia Simpson administration. Yes. And of course, deficits that were created really by the PJ Patterson administration. Because just to be clear, there's no government in the history of Jamaica that has been able to set aside $45 billion for infrastructure repair, infrastructure work, as we're seeing now with the Spark program. $5 billion for water.
How many years? Over how many years?
That is over 3 years, sir. Aligning water with, of course, road work is critical because
so that's $15 billion a year.
Every so often Jamaica.
Marlon running. So let's remind Marlon. Let's remind Marlon that when the PNP hold on, Marlon, please let me just chime in and remind you.
I'm not yielding the microphone, my brother. Just to be very clear. 40 billion on roads because every so often we see road being repaired and then the NWC coming shortly thereafter to dig it up. My brothers, Jamaica is in a good position to pivot towards accelerated levels of growth in this country.
Under the PNP.
On the education and human development side, considerable and good things are happening in terms of heart and the ministry in terms of STEM and those kinds of things. And importantly, the Jamaican people are safer today because crime, we have had sustained reductions in crime, 36%, whether some people among us believe the statistics or not. Jeffrey, we are entitled to our own opinion, but it is
you are safer, Minister, not the Jamaican people.
Jeffrey, the same statistics that we got when crime was going up is the same basis on which the statistics is being devised.
All right, Marlon, thank you. Obi wants to say something before you.
Marlon, can I just say one thing, Marlon? I beg you 2 minutes.
There's several things, sir, including vote for Labour. You can say that. Say vote for Labour.
Hold on, Marlon, let Obi go now.
Is it true that when the PNP took office, they inherited an economy with a 5% decline in 2011, 2012? Right? That was the situation that the PNP had to deal with. The debt to GDP ratio.
I don't mention the global economic recession.
Hold on.
You said it would benefit us.
Service to the people of Jamaica.
But you said that would benefit we.
You see, the debt to GDP ratio.
I have to go and attend to an obligation now. Here, all the best.
All right, cool. But I say what I have to say nonetheless because the people will be listening, Colin. But
the people are still here.
Senator,
go Obi.
Go ahead, Jeff. You're saying something.
Yes, hold on for me, Obi. Senator.
You see him can't run from me, but go ahead.
Will
You're
you come
bowling
on
a
my
sweetie
program
bowling.
and start again
You're
program?
bowling a full bowling, Conrad. Sweet bowling.
That's 6'2" inches.
Jeffrey
I come
asking you a
from the
question,
boundary.
Marlon. Hold on, allow
6'2"
Jeffrey to ask
inches. I
you a
come from the
question.
boundary. You can't take the pace.
Senator,
Yes, sir.
can you tell the Jamaican people, both in the diaspora and in Jamaica, will you come on my program or Mr. Rattigan program? Yes or no? Why are you afraid to come on the program?
I may come on Jeffrey's program because believe you me, Jeffrey, in our interface this morning, I'm having an absolutely different and I dare say better opinion of you than the one I heard when you were on social media cussing me out to say, boy, me talk. But because you misunderstood the characterization and the analogy I used about the swimming and whatnot in blood.
Marlon, somebody who's seen all over the place.
Because Jeffrey, I'm in the business of discussing national issues in a sober and in a way.
Turn off these.
Conrad, hold a minute. Conrad, hold a minute. Marlon, I think why you are saying that, is because you think that I was soft on the Prime Minister in Myanmar. I was not soft on the Prime Minister, I'm going to ask you this question. Are you going to help the Jamaicans who are overseas who can't get their pension? Until now, the Prime Minister office have not getting in contact with anybody. The PM told us to give the number to whosoever, and I did. And until nobody called the people then.
We have to afford them some time, Jeffrey, to, ascertain the fact.
How long has the Prime Minister come back to Jamaica?
Huh?
How long has the Prime Minister come back to Jamaica?
It has been a fortnight at least. It has been a fortnight exactly.
So you say he can't respond to us by that time?
What I'm saying, no man, Jeffrey, they would have to be ascertaining the facts because as the Prime Minister expressed in Florida, we know that there are some deficiencies in relation to the Accountant General Department and, of course, even in relation to NIS. And yes, persons are frustrated as they should be. So I would want for you guys to work through the issues so that there's some meaningful advance that can be made in relation to the pensioners and the hardship that they're in terms of the inconvenience of not getting what is to be remitted to them in a timely manner.
Are you willing to come on the program, yes or no?
What was, say again?
Are you willing to come on both programs, yes or no?
I don't think I'm going to dignify Wilfred Rattigan.
Why?
You see, you guys are declared and known surrogates of the PNP. Wilfred Rattigan, in my
Nobody
view,
hello. Nobody can tell you that I, Jeffrey Tavares, is a member of any political party in Jamaica.
But Jeffrey,
I am not.
I have observed Rattigan was
Marlon,
a band of men who on the international stage sought to bring Jamaica into disrepute.
Isn't the Prime Minister bringing Jamaica into disrepute? Isn't the Prime Minister bringing Jamaica into disrepute?
No, man.
Isn't the Prime Minister
is reducing crime in the country, Jeffrey. 36% reduction in murders.
Answer the question, Marlon.
Yeah.
Isn't the Prime Minister bringing Jamaica into disrepute?
No, the answer is no, my friend.
With 28 bank accounts?
The answer is no. The Prime Minister.
28 bank accounts and the statutory filing not certified.
36% reduction in crime, 3.7% unemployment, record low unemployment, Jeffrey.
In what way, Mr. Rattigan and I bring Jamaica in disrepute?
Mr. Rattigan,
an increase in poverty rate by his own numbers, an increase in poverty rate.
Conrad,
with all that you mentioned, an increase in poverty rate.
Marlon, let me say this to you before you go.
Marlon, with all that you mentioned, an increase in poverty rate. Can you speak to that?
Signal. Conrad, that's mute for a moment.
Can you speak to that with all that you mentioned by the Prime Minister's own number of increase in the poverty rate?
Conrad, you have number 2. Marlon Morgan is now serving customer number 1. Hold your number 2 and just mute for a moment. I am finalizing my response to Jeffrey Tavares by saying this.
I am simply asking, no matter which part you want to put me, 5, 6, 10 or whatever, I'm asking you, with all that you just chat out, the Jamaican poverty rate has gone not by anybody else said, but by the numbers that is out there by the Prime Minister.
We'll soon come to your number, We'll soon come to your number. But Jeffrey, and a number of persons brought Jamaica to distribute globally.
Hold a second.
With their protest.
Yes. Mr. Morgan, if the Prime Minister is a poor man born in a one room, right? But the Prime Minister come back and say
in Spanish too. We never get into the room.
In a 2-bedroom So I don't know what kind of
Brother, I didn't get into the room argument. I said a board house in Spanish Town. Whether one room, 2 room, or no room.
All right, caller, cool.
Hold on there. Mr. Morgan, you said something
Hold on, Jeffrey. Go ahead, caller.
Me can ask a question.
Go right ahead with the question.
All right. I like Marlon to tell me, you see, the money, the when you had a call where they go out and buy up money on the road every week to pay them bill.
When them floating bonds.
Liquidity
Government bonds.
or something like that.
Yeah, man.
You want to tell me, say, no, a country where I do that. Remember them country say, I the same thing as government paper, you know, where Andrew want to go on platform and of course, at the same time,
them are
when
floating.
do that.
Yes. Remember.
From time to time.
What him learn, because the same method where Omar Davis then use this to rescue Jamaica, it's him I use now. So
sir, that is not so, caller. That is not so.
In a bad position, but when them
that is not so. All of that is not so. Omar Davies sought to raise resources for Jamaica using expensive means of doing so, which is why Mark Golding and Peter Bunting became rich fat cats on the backs of the Jamaican people.
You know,
hold on.
Let me respond to that.
Let
me respond to that.
No, man, you can't leave it.
You know why Mark Golding and Peter Bunting could buy those bad debt? Because people like Eddie Siaga borrowed money and say him forget to borrow it. People like Audley Shaw. And that's why I don't want to release the FinSAC report. Because people like Eddie Siaga
and not to mention the core report. The core report with SSL. Marlon, what about the core report with SSL? Before you go, answer that one. Since you said the FinSAC report was not ready. What about the core report? Why that's being published with SSL?
There are proceedings before our courts, both at the civil jurisdiction of the court and in the court in its criminal jurisdiction. So stand by, keep calm, keep your powder dry, and let the chips fall where they may in terms of the carriage of justice in the country. Anyway,
Jeffrey, no. Hold on.
May have one last word.
Hold on.
May I have a caller? Go ahead, caller.
Yes, man, Mr. Colin.
Yes, sir.
My take on this is that the Prime Minister should not be allowed to be on the ballot.
Why?
Yes, ballot.
Why?
Because he lack integrity. He lack integrity.
Mm-hmm.
He lacks transparency.
Yes.
He lacks accountability.
Yes.
Reducing crime by 36%. Reducing unemployment.
Prime Minister. He came across to the public as arrogant.
This is the average man out there saying, Marlon, listen to him. Listen to him.
And
you mean the average comrade? You mean the average comrade who will not help you to secure a majority of the seats in the elections?
All right.
Because, OB, newsflash, Michael Phillips will be losing Northwest Manchester. Omar Newell will be losing Central St. Mary.
All right.
And Kenneth Russell will be losing Southeast St. Anne.
Lovely. One part in nonsense. Tell Andrew to call it. One part in nonsense.
Gentlemen, Marlon gone. Hold on, gentlemen, hold on. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Marlon Morgan is gone. Talk to me.
Yes,
he
good
ran.
Morning, Mr. Colin Bell and the ex-team. Guesses.
Just guess. No guesses. Guess.
Yes. All right. I want to know. It seems like the Jamaica Labour Party and its supporter is out of touch with the common citizens of Jamaica, because they say that there's no new taxes, and whenever you go to the supermarket, in terms of last week, if you go to the supermarket last week and you come back this week to buy the same set of items, it is a different, it is an increase in money. So when Mr. Morgan is saying that they are out of touch because the 200% they got
the allowance and the perks, what they are getting off of the Jamaican people. It is them not feeling that inflation. So when he coming here and telling us that poverty is low.
No. He didn't do that. Because when I gave him the poverty figures, he accept. So he never said no. He accept it. Because we tell you all the while, you know. We tell you all the while why the labor rights don't come here, because we have the figures and we don't lie with the figures.
You know, Colin.
But to do respect, Mr. Collins, but the Prime Minister continues to say it on different mediums. So he is agreeing, but the Prime Minister is saying otherwise.
No man, what Marlon has done just now is to say that the Prime Minister is lying. That's what he agreed.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, Carla. If you notice, Marlon was willing to engage at certain point. But once, for example, and I'm not saying this, once I attempt to bring the facts and to talk to Marlon and share, you notice he got antsy and I wanted to run away and jump, but he was prepared to stay and to spread all sorts of nonsense. The fact of the matter is that it is clear. It is clear what is happening in Jamaica and what the people are saying. And that is why I bring front and center into the discussion where the inflation is. And it is very important, as the caller just said, Colin and Jeffrey, that the basket that hit the average man, that inflation is where it matters. Yes. And that is why the $4,000 basket that the Prime Minister showed in 2016, not even the chicken in that basket, the 4,000 can't buy today.
Go ahead,
How's that, Marlon?
Yeah, man. First, we want to big up Mr. Jeffrey and big up OB. Uno punch hard. Mr. Colin.
Yes, sir.
You get too start with you make the man disrespect people and turn off the camera and the rude in a man. You should have put down your foot on his neck, man.
He had enough foot on his neck, man.
All right, then, yeah, man. I want to think on Jeffrey program. Because I know Jeffrey lick hard, you know. And Mr. Hobie, big up yourself. You lick him left right and send to him like a solar flatter. So let me tell you something.
God bless you, man.
Hanover alone can run their own water system. We have Great River. We have Lagwood. No need no water system from St. James to come in Hanover. And we have Warren River there stuff. So when I talk about that nonsense.
And let us just also say that
Prime Minister should not be on the ballot.
Listen, the man look on charity money, brother. From this, the man should take for himself when he thief the charity money and doing one business. In a COVID, the man lock down everybody. The man open more business in a COVID as a Prime Minister.
All right, caller. Thanks for the call.
Last time when me listen to the news, look at them thief and wicked and genial. Last time when me listen to the news, the ombudsman gets $46 million. And he don't have no office. And when Dan apartment leave there, he was just under 20 million.
No, she was getting 25.
Thank you much.
25.
65.
No.
She gets 25 and they are getting 65 now. Go ahead.
No, they're getting 65. But the caller is also correct. When the office was closed, they were getting 45. When they have no office there, they got 45 in that. But it's a very important point, Colin. Now let us spend a little bit of time on it. Let's spend a little bit of time on it, and I want to commend
Hold on,
young Dennis. Should I continue?
Yeah, man.
I want to commend young Deniska Williams, who is the candidate down there in Southwest St. Anne, who had actually penned a press release and asking some germane questions and calling on the government to reinstitute the office of the political ombudsman in its original form. Because here it is, Colin. Here and these are things that we have to drill down in. Some of the views that the government posit when they dismantled that office was to say that it was a cost saving. No, a cost saving and you move from 25 to 65 million dollars when you don't have overhead of an office. The staff, you don't have a staff to be paid because the ECJ is already staffed and all the commissioners are being paid. So what is happening? And to people like Dr. Barnett's credit, Cafe, and I must say that, yesterday evening and a program on CVM, no less a person than George Davis had to come out and say to the Minister of Justice and by extension the government, look good, and it cannot work in its present form. You can all go on our CVM for the tape.
Let's take a call. Go ahead, caller.
Well, it's morning where I'm at. Good morning to the esteemed panel.
Still morning where
Jeffrey
we are.
Tavares, Conrad O'Brien.
Maybe afternoon where Jeffrey is.
Oh, afternoon, Jeffrey.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay. So let me just get it, and I won't stay too long because I'm doing some cleanup right now. But I literally had to stop for the past hour to listen to to watch the circus that was unfolding. Because in all seriousness, right? And they're just saying up here, and I don't want to come across as disrespectful, but anyone who lives in North America or Canada or wherever, you should be familiar with this term. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. What I heard Marlon Morgan sit there and say right to all the members who are listening in the chat right now is basically to say, look up in the sky. It's not really blue. It is red. Don't believe don't believe your lying eyes and don't listen to your lying ears. What I'm telling you is the absolute truth. So even though whatever you're experiencing, that is not the actual truth. What is coming out of my mouth is the truth. You cannot do that. People are not dumb. And the last thing I'm just really going to just say is, I have family members who have voted both for PNP and the GLP. And every single family member, friend I correspond with, they have told me that this is the worst they've ever seen Jamaica. And you are not going to tell me that, unemployment is very low, the crime rate is going down. And yet you guys cannot give proper figures. And you know what? Kudos to you guys. I'll give you guys this one. Jeffrey and Colin and Conrad, you guys at least will listen to what the other side has to say. When I listen to the other JLP bloggers, them just spewing out nonsense and nothing to back it up.
Thank you.
At least kudos to you guys, because I know because I can't say this much, I don't think I have the wherewithal to sit down and when people, if you're looking at me directly in my face and you tell me foolishness, me quite sorry, but me don't know how you guys are able to do it. But kudos to you guys, because you're much bigger than me. I could not sit there and allow that. You know what? At least I understand.
Let me tell you something. It is important for us to allow the garbage to come out. Because you see,
I agree.
You heard me saying to Marlon and saying to Obi that allow him to speak. Because most of the people on the platform are very bright and intelligent people. And when you allow him to speak, you hear the arrogance and you hear the dissent for people's intelligence coming out. Because when you admit that you had 2 quarters of consecutive decline and you are telling people that that is not a recession, then you realize that no, you can't believe nothing that the GLP tell you. As you say, don't piss on your foot and tell me that it's rain or fall.
Mr. Bell, let me just I did principles of business in high school. And that's one of the most basic things that we learn. If you have 2 or 3 quarters consecutively of no growth, that is considered a technical recession. So regardless of what he is saying and what he wants to spew, the fact of the matter is, the reality of the situation is Jamaicans are suffering more than ever.
Oh, yes.
The healthcare system has declined to the lowest, because what is it now? More mothers are dying in childbirth since the 1980s, or something like that. So
yeah, man, you're correct.
And you know the funny thing is, because I spoke on Jeffrey's program, I've spoken on Jeffrey's program, and Jeffrey always said this all the time. Don't take my word for it. Jeffrey always said that. Don't take my word for it. Go and do your own research. Jeffrey tell me personally, go and do your own research. Don't, because one time I was talking to him off, and he's like, well, go and find information. Don't take what I have to say.
Caller?
And I appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you for the call.
All right, have a good one.
Jeffrey, we're wrapping up. I gotta go. Jeffrey, go ahead. You wrap up. Then Conrad, then I'll take it off.
I just want to say to everyone that it's been a pleasure coming on this platform this morning. And I didn't know I could engage with the great Senator Morgan, the sheriff. He's the new sheriff in town. It's been a pleasure talking to him, and I hope he can come on Mr. Rattigan program, my program. And Colin, keep up the good job. Remember to join Wilfred Rattigan this evening at 3 o'clock for Visit Rattigan. And join me on Monday evening for the Current Affair program. My special guest, we don't have a special guest yet, but we're going to have some robust discussion come Monday evening. And I think Conrad will be coming on Monday evening too to give us his input on what is going on in our country and the upcoming general election. So join us on Monday evening at 7 p.m. Jamaica time, 8 p.m. US time. Conrad.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Conrad.
Respect. All right, thanks a lot, Colin. You continue to do a lot of heavy lifting, and of course, Jeffrey Rattigan. And let me commend Marlon as well for coming onto the platform. You know, obviously, the people of Jamaica got the opportunity to hear what I am viewing at a level of contempt that the Jamaica Labour Party and by extension the government led by Andrew Holness have for the people, because Marlon is a senior spokesperson. So whatever he is uttering, certainly one could deduce from it that he is speaking on behalf of the government. And just this morning, I was on a program which I do every Saturday morning on News Start 93 FM, just for a short period between 5 and 10 minutes. It's called Both Sides of the Fence. And this morning I spoke about the political ombudsman, you know, and I believe that all of these things are just so many missed opportunities and so many faux pas that the government led by Andrew Holness is making and taking the people for granted, holding the people in contempt, Colin. And I can tell you this, that one of the things that the people are holding against Mr. Holness himself and by extension his administration is the contempt in which they hold Jamaican people and how they speak to the Jamaican people and what is basically bordering on dictatorship. Take it or leave it. Now, when you look at the political ombudsman, this is a referee body that is needed. You move it and you put it into ECJ. You say it was to save money, which was costing you $25 million when you have a full office with overhead, as the former head, Donna Parchment Brown, said. And now you are paying $65 million when you don't have that office staff and you are using one of the person who is already being paid as a commissioner. Come on, man. We have to look at those things. Then we have Christoph Tan come and talking with a straight face that there's no overrun and this and that, when an outfit was supposed to cost $2 billion or $2.5 billion and it's now costing in excess of 25 billion so far, and we get that it may end up at 30 billion. People are continuing to sleep on cardboard. People are on wheelchair and all sorts of things for hours, for days, Colin. It pains my heart. My mother worked at Mandeville Hospital for years, and I have never witnessed those kind of things back then. When she was working there, Jamaica health system is in a crisis. And no, I'm rapping, but I have to say these things. The economy is in a recession by way of the official definition. So no amount of blabbering and chatting and trying to redefine and speaking from your seat of your pants, not going to cut it.
Thank you, Obi.
That's my closing. God bless you all.
A caller, Willen? Thought we had a caller. Jeffrey,
Colin,
you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, Colin, before you go, I just want to encourage people again. Come on over to Visit Rattigan at 3 p.m. US time, 2 p.m. Jamaica time. Come on over there. There's going to be a lot to unfold over there. I want to say good afternoon or good morning to one of my moderators in Colin's chat room, Walking in Divine Purpose. I need to call you later on to speak to you about some stuff we have going on our program too. Colin,
definitely.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Indeed, Colin, and just for emphasis, if I may, of course, I know you normally do this at your wrap, but of course, join me Monday morning at 9 a.m. I'm on Mondays and Tuesdays, News Talk 93 FM, a robust program where we speak truth to power, and it doesn't matter who the guy is. Colin,
let me say thanks to Wilfred Rattigan for coming on. Thanks to Marlon Morgan, Jeffrey Tavares. Head Boy was on for a short period of time.
Boy.
Conrad O'Brien. My listeners and viewers, thanks for joining us on Portland Spice TV. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we have a lot of people watching on TikTok as well. Colin Shaka Fame Bell. Please go over to my new TikTok page, Shaka Fame, SHACKAFAME. Let me just say this before we go, people. PJ Patterson, in my view, was the greatest prime minister that Jamaica has ever seen as it relates to the delivery in my lifetime.
Modernizing Jamaica.
I was born in the very early 70s, so I didn't see much of Michael Manley. But history would tell me what Michael Manley did for this island of Jamaica. But remember, my people, PJ Patterson transformed the telecommunication business in Jamaica, while we could be on broadband and on internet right now. PJ Patterson transformed the motor vehicle system in Jamaica, while poor people can start own motor vehicle. PJ Patterson built the first highway in Jamaica. PJ Patterson built the most schools. PJ Patterson, in fact, I heard Damian Crawford use a term in the Senate. PJ Patterson created Jamaica Saving Pan. And Michael Manley, the saving pan of the NHT was created by Michael Manley. And so every house that Andrew Holness bragged that they built from NHT is out of the PNP saving pan. JSIF is the PNP saving pan. The TEF, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, is the Jamaican saving pan. The NHF is the saving pan of the People's National Party. I want to remind the people of Jamaica, look at where you are now and what happened. Most people who live in them own house in Jamaica is achieved that because of policies of the People's National Party. I said to my people in Portland.
And Colin, it would be remiss of you or of us not to remind person, and as we hail her, hail Marva, hail Mr. Miller, and the most honorable Portia Simpson Miller. Now, we understand what is happening, in terms of her health and so on, but we want to hail her in a big way. And it would be remiss of us, Colin, not to remind people that herself, along with Dr. Peter Phillips and the cabinet that was including Mark Gordon, they did the heavy lifting to put Jamaica on a path for the reduction that we're on now in terms of the debt payment. When the PNP took office, at that point, the debt to GDP, I think, was close to 160% or 157%. 147%. 147%, and when the PNP leave it there, it was 115. So the downward trajectory was always there. And what we're seeing now, where the Jamaica have a figure to pay it down by, it was things like EPA and other things put in place. So all Andrew Holness had to do is just have his hand on the steering. What is happening? It's not by chance. It is by way of the hard work, heavy lifting that was done by the Portia Simpson Miller led administration when she left. Her Christmas dinner and went to Washington.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Got to go. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Join me Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Jamaica time, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. U.S. time on Caribbean Radio HD. Thanks very much, everybody. One love. Thank you, Jeffrey. Blessings.